Chapter 321. Senior. That Yin Gao is a level 6 Golden Sword Immortal, the Grand Elder of Maple Moon's Yin clan. Other than Yin Gao, no one else is worth mentioning. However, there is one thing Senior should be aware of, that Yin Gao is a disciple of the Jade Sword School. Ming Han said respectfully. Jade Sword School? Lan Feng frowned. What kind of school is this Jade Sword School? Qin Yu, on the other hand, was slightly annoyed. This Ming Han did not explain clearly at the beginning, and only now did he mention it. Yes, Senior. Ming Han continued. This Jade Sword School is only a small school in the immortal realm. However, the school leader is not an ordinary person. He is a level 1 Mystic Sword Immortal. Level 1 Mystic Sword Immortal? Lan Feng's face turned cold. Qin Yu began to curse in his heart. A level 1 Mystic Sword Immortal. And his Sword Immortal puppet was only a level 9 Golden Sword Immortal. Although the gap between a level 9 Golden Immortal and a level 1 Mystic Immortal was only a step away, the gap was very large. Senior, don't worry, we killed Yin Gao. The school leader of the Jade Sword School won't care too much. No one will know that Senior killed Yin Gao. We can swear to the heavens. Ming Han quickly said. He could see that Lan Feng was still afraid of a level 1 Mystic Sword Immortal. Oh, Sword Immortal. Lan Feng nodded, and immediately said in a cold voice. If there's anything you want to say, then you better tell me clearly. If there's anything you're hiding from me, then you better be careful that I don't destroy your Lu clan. Ming Han's body trembled. With the strength of a level 6 Golden Sword Immortal, it would be easy for him to destroy the Lu clan. The head of the Lu clan suddenly said, Senior, I suddenly thought of something. I once heard that the Immortal Realm's Emperor, Yu, had the 18 emperors and the 36 rulers under his command. And this Jade Sword School's head seems to be one of the 36 rulers. Emperor Yu. Qin Yu's heart trembled when he heard this name. After being in the immortal, devil and demon realm for so long, he finally learned of Emperor Yu's power. Martial nephew, what is going on? Why does it involve Emperor Yu? Lan Feng shouted at Qin Yu. Qin Yu hurriedly bowed and said, Martial uncle, please allow me to ask clearly. Qin Yu glared coldly at Ming Han and the Lu family head. You too. If there's anything you want to say, it's best if you speak clearly. Don't try to hide anything. Feeling Qin Yu and Lan Feng's anger, Ming Han's mind raced like lightning. He quickly said, Both of you. Sovereign Yu is a supreme figure in the immortal realm. His subordinates are the 18 emperors and the 36 rulers, all of whom are Xian immortals. As one of the 36 sovereigns, how could the Jade Sword School's sovereign bother himself with such trivial matters? Furthermore, His Majesty Emperor Yu will pay attention to the small matters here. Therefore, please be at ease. Mr. Lu, I am very curious about this Emperor Yu. Can you tell me more about this Emperor Yu? Qin Yu suddenly said. Ming Han was baffled. As long as one was an immortal, who didn't know about Emperor Yu? He even suspected that Qin Yu had been cultivating in seclusion since childhood, not caring about the outside world. But since Qin Yu asked, he answered honestly. The immortal realm has nearly 20 star fields, and there are 3 supreme figures, Sovereign Yu, Emperor Xian, and Emperor Qing. However, the combined power of these 3 is not even half of the immortal realm. Ming Han smiled and said, There are many immortal emperors in the immortal realm, each occupying a part of their own power. Although their power is not as great as Sovereign Yu's, their combined power is greater than most of the immortal realm. Qin Yu understood. The immortal realm was very chaotic. The 3 supreme figures only controlled a small part of the immortal realm. For example, the Indigo Bay star field is even more chaotic. The Silver Stream galaxy belongs to Sovereign Yu's power, but the other galaxies belong to other powers. There are Emperor Qing's, Emperor Xian's, other immortal emperors, and even demon emperors. In short, it's very chaotic. Qin Yu listened carefully. He was like a blind man when it came to the immortal realm. It seems that Sovereign Yu and the other 2 are the strongest in the immortal realm. Qin Yu sighed. Ming Han glared at him. Mr. Qin, you are wrong. It seems that you are always in seclusion and don't care about the immortal realm. Yes. Qin Yu could only respond in this way. Ming Han sighed. In terms of individual power, Sovereign Yu, Emperor Xian, and Emperor Qing may be ranked at the top of the immortal realm, but they are not the strongest. In the immortal realm, there are many super experts who are too lazy to occupy large territories. There are some super experts who are not inferior to Sovereign Yu, and the other two. Qin Yu suddenly understood. Some people like to be a warlord, while others like to be free and unfettered. Sovereign Yu and the other two could only be considered the strongest in the struggle for power. In terms of individual power, there were some who could match the three of them. Thinking back, when Emperor Inai Yang roamed the immortal realm, weren't Sovereign Yu and the others by his side? Ming Han sighed. It's a pity that Emperor Inai Yang disappeared in recent years. Qin Yu smiled. Many people still don't know that Emperor Inai Yang is dead. Emperor Inai Yang's strength is strong, and it is said that he could suppress Sovereign Yu and the others, but he was once defeated. That battle was famous throughout the immortal, devil and demon realms. Ming Han was a golden immortal, and also a great elder of his family. He knew a lot about the immortal, devil, and demon realms. Emperor Inai Yang was defeated? By who? Qin Yu was curious. Emperor Inai Yang was a level 8 mystic immortal, and the sword immortal with the strongest attack power. At the same time, he practiced the heaven-sundering sword arts, complemented by the divine weapon Heaven Piercer, and had the black snow divine armor for defense. Was he defeated? Yes, and the battle took place in our Indigo Bay Star Field. Ming Han's voice rose. Indigo Bay Star Field? Qin Yu's curiosity was piqued. Who could have defeated Emperor Inai Yang? Ming Han's face was full of pride. The one who defeated Emperor Inai Yang is a super expert respected by all in our Indigo Bay Star Field. He stands at the pinnacle of the immortal, devil, and demon realms. People call him the Hidden Emperor. Hidden Emperor? Qin Yu heard this name for the first time. Indigo Bay Star Field is a star field bordering the immortal and devil realms. However, the immortal and devil realms do not dare to recklessly attack each other because of the existence of the Hidden Emperor. No one in the immortal or devil realms dares to disrespect the Hidden Emperor. Ming Han's voice was sonorous. Qin Yu couldn't help but feel the power of the Hidden Emperor. With the Hidden Emperor, the Indigo Bay Star Field was not in chaos. However, the Hidden Emperor was too lazy to fight for power. He himself lived in his hometown, a planet rich in elemental spiritual energy, the Hidden Emperor Star. The original name of this planet has long been forgotten, and now everyone calls it the Hidden Emperor Star. Ming Han's face was full of worship. Qin Yu couldn't help but admire the Hidden Emperor. To be able to defeat Emperor Inai Yang, he must be one of the top figures in the immortal realm. Yet he didn't covet the slightest bit of power. The Hidden Emperor Star is filled with experts like clouds. The Hidden Emperor himself has a number of mystic immortal level friends, as well as some disciples. The Hidden Emperor Star is just a planet, but no one dares to offend it. Ming Han sighed. The Hidden Emperor Star and my Amber Moon Star are both planets, but in terms of status, the difference is like heaven and earth. Qin Yu smiled. Comparing the Amber Moon Star with the Hidden Emperor Star? The other planet had countless immortal Emperor-level experts. How could it be compared? The Hidden Emperor Star. Qin Yu's heart was filled with yearning. This was a planet filled with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. In the Hidden Emperor Star, those who haven't reached the immortal Emperor level can only behave themselves. Otherwise, Ming Han smiled. Even Emperor Yu, Mystic Emperor, and others have paid their respects to the Hidden Emperor. Oh, I heard this news. I don't know if it's true or not. Humans generally have a sense of belonging. This Ming Han, for example, was proud that his Indigo Bay Star Field was able to produce the Hidden Emperor. From his words, one could clearly feel his pride. The Hidden Emperor Star, if I have the chance, I must go and see it. Qin Yu engraved this wish in his heart. Perhaps after finding his brothers and figuring out what happened to Li he would be able to go to the Hidden Emperor Star with them. In fact, whether it is Emperor Yu or the Hidden Emperor, or even the 18 emperors and 36 rulers, they are all high and mighty characters. Us golden immortals simply cannot compare to them. Ming Han laughed self-deprecatingly. Mr. Qin, do you know how many mystic immortals and golden immortals there are in the Silver Stream Galaxy? I don't know. Qin Yu shook his head. In the entire Silver Stream galaxy, the only mystic immortal expert known to all is the Jade Sword School's sect leader. But there are tens of thousands of golden immortals. Now you can feel the difference between a golden immortal and a mystic immortal. Minghan smiled. Qingyu was shocked by this number. What about the celestial immortals? Qingyu continued to ask. Celestial immortals? Minghan was startled. Any random planet in the immortal, devil and demon realms, has thousands, or even tens of thousands of celestial immortals. The number of celestial immortals in the immortal, devil and demon realms is simply innumerable. Qingyu did a little calculation in his heart, and also felt that this number was enormous. Senior Mr. Qin, now you can feel the high and mighty power of an immortal emperor. Killing Yin Gao. How could the Jade Sword School's sect leader care? Minghan said with a smile. Martial nephew, you can send the guests off. This Yin Gao, I will soon take his life. Sword Immortal Lan Feng said indifferently. Yes, martial uncle. Qingyu respectfully said, and then sent the Lu family's head and Minghan out of the bamboo garden. Before the two left, they asked Qingyu to do his best to settle this matter as soon as possible. After the two left, Qingyu and Sword Immortal Lan Feng directly entered a cultivation room. Inside the cultivation room, Qingyu sat cross-legged, while the Sword Immortal puppet stood motionless to the side. Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan stood guard outside the room. Shuo Yin, Zhang Yuan, from now on, you must be careful and stand guard outside the room. If there is anything important, immediately notify me. Qingyu directly ordered. Yes, master. Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan bowed. Qingyu sat cross-legged. His soul fused with Lu Xing's tear and flew directly into the Sword Immortal puppet. Soul separation. In fact, when a cultivator reached the Dongshu stage, they could fuse their soul with the Yuanying and leave the body. Qinyu's cultivation far exceeded that of the Dongshu stage, and his soul had long since solidified. Fusing with Lu Xing's tear was easy. Leaving his body, Qinyu's soul entered the Sword Immortal puppet. Usually, he only relied on a strand of his consciousness to control the Sword Immortal puppet. But now that his soul had entered the Sword Immortal puppet, it was much easier to control, and its attacks were much more flexible. What is this Sword Immortal puppet's body made of? It's so tough, and it feels as elastic as skin. Qingyu felt the Sword Immortal puppet's body, and could not help but sigh at his Uncle Lan's strength. Then Qinyu's soul fused with heaven and earth, and directly used teleportation to disappear from the room. In the room, Qinyu's body also disappeared. His body had already been stored by Qingyu in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. The entire room was empty, but fortunately no one came in. In terms of toughness, although Qinyu's body was strong, it was far inferior to the Sword Immortal puppet's body. The Sword Immortal puppet's toughness was comparable to a divine tool. How could it be a joke? In the night sky of Lufeng City, a figure stood high in the sky. Immortal swords can change their length. It seems that this body can as well. With a thought, Qinyu's body suddenly grew by 5 or 6 centimeters, and a sword scar appeared on his face. With such a strong body, its flying speed must be very fast. Qinyu's face was full of smiles. Suddenly, the night sky of Lufeng City trembled, and Qinyu's body disappeared. One breath. Qingyu appeared in the sky above Yinshan City. This was not teleportation. Instead, it was speed. The Sword Immortal puppet's body is more than 1,000 times stronger than my body, and its speed is also more than 10 times faster. Qingyu couldn't help but sigh. Then he calmed himself down and looked down at Yinshan City. This Yinshan City clearly occupied a much larger area than Lufeng City. This Yin clan's palace is clearly much more luxurious, and they also have a lot more subordinates. Qingyu quickly discovered that this Yin clan was located in a huge area. A clan's unified building naturally had its own distinct characteristics. It was now night. The entire Yin clan's palace was brightly lit, and many people were already meditating in their homes. There were also some Yin clan members strolling on the streets. At the same time, there were also pairs of armored guards patrolling the area. This is bad. Qingyu suddenly smiled bitterly. He didn't know where the level 6 golden immortal Yin Gao was. Ming Han and the others thought that Qin Yu's martial uncle's strength was far beyond that of a level 6 golden immortal. Naturally, they could use their immortal sense to find Yin Gao. But Qin Yu's sword immortal puppet's soul was Qin Yu's. How could he find a level 6 golden immortal? Difficult. Alas, originally I only wanted to deal with Yin Gao, but now it seems that I'll have to involve the rest of the Yin clan. I'll just have to pick one that I don't like and capture them for questioning. Qin Yu sighed. Then in a flash, he appeared on the streets of the Yin clan and began to leisurely stroll. Qin Yu's goal was to capture anyone from the Yin clan whose power was between level 6 and level 9 heavenly immortals. Chapter 322. The spacious streets were brightly lit with people coming and going. For cultivators, sleep was not essential. On this night, naturally, there were many people strolling on the streets. Some of them were with friends, and some of them were alone. Qin Yu was one of them. Walking in the middle of the street, Qin Yu was immersed in the beautiful night market. Killing Yin Gao is not urgent. Qin Yu is wholeheartedly enjoying his happiness. On the street there are handsome men, beautiful women, proud and aloof people and fierce people. There are all kinds of people. After all, a cultivator could change their appearance. What a beautiful woman! Qin Yu looked at a woman in green not far from him, and couldn't help but praise her. Qin Yu was only praising her from an appreciative point of view. Miss Maple Moon's wine, floating maple black tea, is the best. Let's go in and have a taste. A pretty maid beside the woman in green suggested. The woman in green nodded and smiled. All right. Then the two entered the tea house, floating maple tea house. Floating maple black tea? Sure enough, it's truly as that servant girl said. Absolute. Qin Yu had heard that voice from afar. He was also curious, and immediately walked into this tea house. However, when Qin Yu stepped into it, he slightly frowned. Someone is secretly watching me? Qin Yu's heart stirred. After fusing with Lu Xing's tear, Qin Yu's soul was very sensitive. Although his soul was only at level 8 immortal level, Qin Yu could clearly feel that Lu Minghan, a level 2 golden immortal, was looking at him. However, Qin Yu only had a vague feeling that someone was looking at Qin Yu. Qin Yu entered the tea house with a puzzled expression. On the street, an old man glanced at the tea house and thought to himself, the strongest person in the tea house is close to level 8 immortal level. He is no threat to Mississippi, ***** inside the tea house. Looks like the floating maple black tea is also something that the rich enjoy. A pot costs as much as 100 yuan. That's a mid-grade elemental holy or you're talking about. Most heavenly immortals probably wouldn't be so extravagant. Qin Yu was shocked when he saw the price of the floating maple black tea. There weren't many people in the floating maple tea house, only 8. However, almost all of them were level 5 heaven immortals and above. Only the green-robed woman was the weakest, only a level 1 heaven immortal. Her maidservants were all level 7 heaven immortals. He picked up the teacup and sniffed it. That trace of tea fragrance seeped into his heart and lingered in his mind for a long time before slowly dissipating. It really is a good tea. Qin Yu couldn't help but exclaim in admiration when the aroma alone had such a miraculous effect. The attendant at the side said, "Young master, you seem to be a foreigner." Qin Yu gladly nodded and looked at the attendant. The attendant continued, "Maple Moon Star is only famous for this floating maple black tea. In the entire Silver Stream Galaxy, there are only 2 places that produce this tea. One is Maple Moon Star, and the other is Red Leaf Star. Of course, our Maple Moon Star doesn't produce as much as Red Leaf Star. Naturally, it's not as prosperous as Red Leaf Star. Maple Moon Star is small, so the price is naturally lower. A pot of floating maple black tea only costs 100 here, but Red Leaf Star costs 200. In the Immortal Realm and Devil Realm, the price of floating maple black tea goes up to thousands." The attendant said proudly, "That's right. Our floating maple black tea costs 500 yuan. However, it's far inferior to the floating maple black tea here. Don't you think so, miss?" the pretty maidservant said to the green-robed woman. Qin Yu slowly took a few sips. "How many floating maple black tea leaves does this tea house have in stock? I want to buy some." Qingyu said. The attendant's eyes lit up. Young master, please wait a moment. I'll go get the owner. After the boss arrived, Qingyu didn't even bother to haggle over the price. He directly spent 12 high-grade elemental holy ores to buy 90% of the tea house's stock. The remaining 10% was to be used by the tea house to temporarily entertain the guests. After buying it, Qingyu started to quietly sip the tea. Third brother, do you have any more floating maple black tea? Suddenly, a voice sounded in the tea house. Almost all the customers frowned. The biggest taboo in a tea house was to make a ruckus. The person who spoke just now walked into the tea house. It was a handsome middle-aged man. The owner of the tea house came out and shook his head. Big brother, the floating maple black tea leaves were almost sold out. I don't have much left. I was thinking of going to you to get some. The middle-aged man frowned. I don't have any left either. You know that great elder loves floating maple black tea. When he comes out of seclusion, he will definitely use it. However, I went to a few places and they all ran out. Looks like I have to go to Red Leaf Planet. Although Red Leaf Planet was one of the places where floating maple black tea was produced, it was just too little. It was barely enough for the people of Red Leaf Planet. Red Leaf Planet, the round-trip fee, and the price there is twice as high as ours. The tea house owner frowned. The middle-aged man said helplessly, For great elder, I'll let it go. The tea house owner thought for a while, and suddenly walked to Qingyu. Young master, can you return the tea leaves I just sold to you? Of course, I can return the 12 high-grade elemental holy stones to you. Qingyu frowned. Is this how you do business? Young master, I am Yin Wu Tao. This tea house is also one of the Yin family's businesses. I hope you can give us some face. The middle-aged man also walked over. Of course, the price can be negotiated. How about 15 high-grade elemental holy stones? He just sold it, and now he wants it back. Do I look like someone who lacks money? Qingyu retorted. Would someone who casually took out 12 high-grade elemental holy stones to buy tea care about that little bit of money? Yin Wu Tao and the tea house owner were stunned. Did you just say that your great elder is in seclusion? Qingyu suddenly realized that these two had said that he was from the Yin family, and that the great elder was in seclusion. Obviously, the Yin family's great elder was in seclusion. Yin Wu Tao immediately said, Yes, the great elder is in seclusion. But once he comes out, he will definitely want the tea. Can you part with it? Seclusion, huh? Qingyu understood. Then he ignored Yin Wu Tao and the tea house owner, and walked out of the tea house. A young master, Yin Wu Tao, and the middle-aged man called after him. Walking on the street, Qingyu felt a bit helpless. I was just about to go find that great elder, but he went into seclusion. Let's go see how the defense is. Yes, let's go find someone and ask. Qingyu's eyes lit up, and he disappeared in a flash. Times Yin Wu Tao was very unhappy. Just now in the tea house, Qingyu's cold attitude made Yin Wu Tao very angry. He really wanted to kill Qingyu and be done with it. But he realized that he couldn't detect Qingyu's power at all. Obviously, Qingyu was stronger than him. Connecting that to Qingyu's extravagant spending, he could see that Qingyu was both rich and powerful. So Yin Wu Tao had been holding back. After all, the Yin family's power only covered one planet. He couldn't afford to offend the big shots. Yin Wu Tao, right? A voice suddenly rang out. Who's calling me? Yin Wu Tao was stunned. Suddenly, Yin Wu Tao felt dizzy and he lost consciousness. With the help of Lu Xing's tears, it's much easier to use the hypnosis technique. Qingyu easily controlled Yin Wu Tao. Firstly, there was a big gap between their power. Secondly, Qingyu could now use Lu Xing's tears to its full effect. Tell me, when did the great elder go into seclusion? Qingyu asked. Yin Wu Tao's eyes were lifeless. He said mechanically. The great elder went into seclusion 3 days ago. When will he come out? Qingyu continued asking. I don't know. The great elder said that he might come out in a day or a year. But the great elder said that he wouldn't be in seclusion for long. If everything goes as planned, it should be around 10 days to half a month. Qingyu nodded in satisfaction. If it was only 10 days to half a month, Qingyu wasn't in a hurry. Of course, it would be easier to deal with him a day earlier. Where is the great elder in seclusion? Qin Yu continued to ask. Qin Yu saw that Yin Wu Tao was also a level 5 sky immortal. He should have a high position in the Yin clan, and should know a lot of things. Yin Wu Tao continued mechanically. In the Sword Immortal Hall. Sword Immortal Hall. Qin Yu heard this name and had a bad feeling. How's the defense? The Sword Immortal Hall was set up by the Great Elder's senior brothers. It's extremely powerful. The Great Elder said confidently that even a level 8 or 9 golden immortal sword immortal wouldn't be able to break through the Sword Immortal Hall. Hearing Yin Wu Tao's words, Qin Yu was a bit annoyed. Yin Gao's senior brothers should be disciples of the Jade Sword School. Yin Gao was a level 6 golden immortal. His senior brothers were probably not weaker than him. The defense set up by them could defend against a level 8 or 9 golden immortal sword immortal. What Qin Yu did not know was that the strongest of Yin Gao's martial brothers had already reached the level 9 golden immortal stage. It would be a piece of cake for them to join hands and set up a barrier to defend against the attacks of a level 8 golden immortal sword immortal. Oh, who is the Yin clan's patriarch? How strong is he? Qin Yu continued to ask. Qin Yu was now thinking about the Yin clan's patriarch. One must know that a clan's wealth was divided into 3 places. One was in the spatial ring of the strongest person, another was in the spatial ring of the patriarch, and the last was in the clan's storehouse. Since Yin Gao was in seclusion, he would deal with the Yin clan's patriarch first. The patriarch's name is Yin Sulan. He is a level 1 golden immortal, the second golden immortal of the Yin clan. Yin Wu Tao continued. Qin Yu's heart relaxed. A level 1 golden immortal? Wouldn't that be easy? Is Yin Sulan a sword immortal? How many sword immortals does your Yin clan have? Qin Yu continued to ask. No. Our Yin family only has 3 sword immortals. One of them is the Grand Elder, while the other 2 are sky immortals. Yin Wu Tao gave a very detailed answer. Qin Yu was satisfied. Okay, you can go to sleep now. Qin Yu calmly spoke as he drifted away. Times Yin Sulan. He was the second master of the Yin clan, and also the current head of the Yin clan. The palace they lived in was also very prosperous. There were groups of guards and guest elders living in the surroundings. The defense was extremely tight. On the bed in the bedroom, Yin Sulan sat cross-legged on his bed, with a high-grade elemental spirit stone in his hand. He was constantly absorbing the energy from the high-grade elemental spirit stone to cultivate. Looking at Yin Sulan's sword-like eyebrows, he was also a handsome man. Yin Sulan. A voice abruptly rang out in the palace. Who is it? Yin Sulan's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately stopped practicing. His eyes opened wide, and 2 beams of light shot out from his eyes. Puff! A sword chi flashed, and Yin Sulan's face stiffened. He was unable to say a word before he fell to the ground. At the same time, his immortal equipment and spatial ring fell from his body. A man carrying an immortal sword appeared at the bedside. It was Qin Yu. AI, this is a level 1 golden immortal's yuanying, I can't waste it. Qin Yu grabbed the yuanying and put it into his blazing profound ring. He then took Yin Sulan's immortal equipment. Qin Yu grabbed Yin Sulan's spatial ring and carefully inspected it with his immortal sense. There are actually 3 messaging beads and some immortal equipment. The best one is only a middle-grade immortal equipment. That's too bad. There are only 8 top-grade elemental spirit stones. Qin Yu was somewhat dissatisfied. In fact, Qin Yu did not know much about the Yin clan's wealth. Only in the end did he understand how much wealth the Yin clan had. His figure flashed and disappeared from the bedroom. Only Yin Sulan's corpse was left lying on the bed. Early the next morning, Patriarch. The 2 servants outside the door shouted several times, but there was no response from the room. Finally, the 2 servants looked at each other. What happened to the patriarch? Did he go out? He should have gone out. Otherwise, with the patriarch's cultivation, he should be able to hear us even if he was sleeping. How could there be no response? Good, let's go in and tidy up the room. The 2 servants opened the door and began to tidy up the room. However, when they reached the bed, they saw the corpse lying on the bed. Patriarch. In just a short while, the news of the patriarch's death spread throughout the Yin clan. A large number of experts began to frantically search for the murderer. However, the Yin clan knew that for someone to be able to kill Yin Su-lan without a sound, other than the Yin clan Grand Elder, no one else would be able to catch him. Times in a manor in Yinshan City. Miss, it's time to go back. Amber Moon is not safe. An old man respectfully said to a lady in green. The lady in green pouted and said, "Let's play for a few more days." The old man sighed. "Young miss, Yin Su-lan from the Yin clan died last night. I used my immortal sense to investigate the place where he was killed, but I couldn't detect even the slightest trace of his aura. There was only a wisp of extremely sharp sword chi that I could barely detect. I judged that the person who killed him to be at least a level 8 or 9 golden immortal. Perhaps a mysterious immortal. This level of expert is already a threat to Mississippi. That. All right," the lady in green said helplessly. Chapter 323. Yin Su-fan, Yin Su-tan, and all the other elders of the Yin family gathered in the hall. The atmosphere was oppressive, and everyone's face was gloomy. "Second elder, why don't you tell us?" Yin Su-fan asked. The second elder of the Yin family, Yin Shua, had a bitter look on his face. He took a deep breath, and his expression became resolute. "Everyone, I think you all know that last night, the head of the Yin family was killed. Even the people living in the surrounding area did not notice the slightest movement." Second elder Yin Shua swept his eyes over the crowd. "Everyone is now desperately trying to find the killer, but I know it's just for show. To be able to kill Su-lan, the killer must be at least a golden immortal expert. If the killer wanted to escape, he would have used greater teleportation to escape. It would be impossible for us to find him." Everyone smiled bitterly. Yes, now that the Yin family was frantically searching for the killer, there was no point in doing so. A golden immortal expert could have used greater teleportation to escape to God knows where. How could they catch him? "Second elder, our head was killed. Are we going to swallow this insult? Are we not going to take revenge?" Yin Su-tan said angrily. Fourth elder, calm down. Yin Su-fan said coldly. Second elder Yin Shua shook his head. "Our Yin family is too weak. We cannot rely on ourselves." Yin Su-fan's eyes lit up. "Second elder, what do you mean?" Second elder Yin Shua nodded. "Yes, we can only think of a way to get the Jade Sword School to help. If they are willing to help, the chances of success will be very high. But we have no relationship with the Jade Sword School, so we can only rely on the Grand Elder. After all, the Grand Elder is a disciple of the Jade Sword School. But the Grand Elder is in seclusion." Yin Su-lan's wife smiled bitterly. Second elder nodded. "We can only wait. This time, the Grand Elder is in seclusion to reach level 7 golden immortal. At this time, no matter what, we cannot disturb the Grand Elder. If we disturb the Grand Elder, we will be the sinners of the Yin family." Everyone in the hall nodded. Compared to Yin Su-lan, the Grand Elder Yin Gao was more important to the Yin family. If Yin Su-lan was dead, it would be fine. The Yin family could still stand proudly on Maple Moon. But if Yin Gao's soul was gone, then the Yin family would be suppressed by the other two families, and would never be able to rise again. "Wait, we can only wait," Second elder Yin Shua said loudly. It was located in a small, remote manor in Yinshan City. This small, remote manor originally belonged to a cultivator. Qin Yu spent a mid-grade elemental spirit stone to purchase it. For those self-cultivators, the value of a piece of mid-grade elemental holy stone far exceeded that of a small manor. In one of the rooms of the manor, Qin Yu was busy dealing with Yin Su-lan's belongings. I didn't think that Yin Su-lan would be so ruthless. Qin Yu looked at the IOUs. According to Qin Yu's understanding, this was the usury of the Hidden Dragon continent. The blood oath handprint on the IOU made Qin Yu's heart tremble. Then, a purple flame flew out from Qin Yu's palm, burning the hundreds of promissory notes to ashes. Qin Yu burned them. Those who wrote the IOUs could feel it in their hearts. Most of them had been tortured by the IOUs to the point of insanity. Now that the IOUs had been burned, they were overjoyed. This meant that they no longer had to pay back their debts. Strange. For millions of years, The Yin family has been in charge of the planet's teleportation array. Logically speaking, their wealth should be at least 100 times greater than the Yin family's. This patriarch's interspatial ring should have at least a few billion, but there's only 100 million. Qin Yu scanned all the elemental spirit stones with his immortal sense. The value of the stones in Yin Su Lan's interspatial ring was only 100 million. In any case, he was still a patriarch. How could there be so little? Forget it, I'll just meditate for a few days. Qin Yu sat down cross-legged. He did not return to his body. Instead, he stayed in the sword immortal puppet's body. Because he was only cultivating his soul, he could remain in this state. In the immortal devil and demon realm, strength was everything. Killing was killing. If one was soft-hearted, they would not be able to live for long. In the endless years of cultivation, Qin Yu's heart had become colder and colder. Perhaps only in the deepest part of his heart, that kinship, that love, that brotherhood was eternal. Times Yin family's sword immortal palace. A white-browed middle-aged man sat cross-legged. His body was emitting sharp sword energy. Suddenly, the white-browed middle-aged man's two white brows suddenly floated up. All the sword energy in his body was completely restrained. A terrifying oppressive aura covered the entire sword immortal palace. The white-browed middle-aged man's face turned red. Red. Immediately his face turned purple. As he breathed, two sharp sword energy shot out from his nostrils and flew into the white-browed middle-aged man's body. Again and again, the sword energy became shorter and shorter. Suddenly, the white-browed middle-aged man's body trembled. Pung! Countless sword energy shot out from the white-browed middle-aged man's body in all directions. The sword immortal palace was indeed built by Yin Gao's senior brothers. Its defense was indeed powerful. Under the attack of countless sword energy, it was not damaged at all. Success! I have finally reached level 7 Golden Immortal. The white-browed middle-aged man opened his eyes, his gaze like a torch. This white-browed middle-aged man was Yin Gao. He sensed that he had reached the peak of level 6 Golden Immortal. He was only one step away from level 7 Golden Immortal, so he went into seclusion to break through. Sure enough, he succeeded. This Yin Gao was a third-generation disciple of the Jade Sword School. His strength was considered below average. In the first generation of the Jade Sword School, he was the only level 1 mystic immortal. In the second generation of the Jade Sword School, there were 7 level 9 Golden Immortals and 1 level 8 Golden Immortal. In the third generation of the Jade Sword School, there were 6 level 9 Golden Immortals, 10 level 8 Golden Immortals, and many level 7 Golden Immortals. The rest were all level 6 Golden Immortals. The white-browed middle-aged man was now a level 7 Golden Immortal. Finally, he could be considered to be in the middle of this generation. Master, I have reached level 7 Golden Immortal. Yin Gao immediately reported to his master. Yin Gao's master, Yu Dian, was a second-generation disciple of the Jade Sword School. He was the only level 8 Golden Immortal among the second-generation disciples. But when it came to managing the school, Yin Gao's master, Yu Dian, was the absolute number 1. Therefore, Yu Dian's position was extremely high. Disciple, you have finally reached level 7 Golden Immortal. Haha, this is great. I have long wanted you to help me. But when you were a level 6 Golden Immortal, I was worried that you would not be able to control the situation. So come to Red Leaf Planet in a few days. Yin Gao's master was very happy. Using one's own disciple was the most reassuring. Master, don't worry. Disciple will arrange the family matters and immediately rush over. Yin Gao's heart was overjoyed. What could he achieve in the small Amber Moon planet? Red Leaf Planet was the core planet of the Silver Stream Galaxy. There were even more experts there. Developing there would be more prospects. Yin Gao even thought that through the Jade Sword School, he would be able to work for Emperor Yu. After the transmission ended, Yin Gao's face was full of smiles. The profits in Amber Moon Planet are too little. Until now, I have only obtained one top-grade immortal tool, and this was with Master's help. When I reach Red Leaf Planet, I will be in charge of the Jade Sword School. Not only will I have face, but I will also be able to obtain many treasures. Yin Gao spread out his immortal sense. Yin Shua Su Lan, I have finished my training. Yin Gao directly used his immortal sense to send a message. But Yin Gao suddenly found that he could not find any information about Su Lan. But after searching the entire Yinshan city, he still could not find Su Lan. Grand Elder, the head of the family has been killed. Yin Shua sent a message. Yin Gao's face changed. He had just reached level 7 Golden Immortal, and was in a good mood because of his master's appointment. Who would have thought that in the blink of an eye, he would receive such infuriating news? Where is the murderer? Yin Gao asked. Second Elder Yin Shua sent a message. Grand Elder, the murderer silently killed the head of the family in the middle of the night. No one saw the murderer's appearance, and there is no information. We are unable to catch the murderer. Grand Elder's face turned even uglier. Wait until I get out. Grand Elder suppressed the anger in his heart. The news of the Great Elder coming out of seclusion quickly spread throughout the entire Yin clan. Every member of the Yin clan, who had some status, gathered in the main hall. Yin Sulan's death did not affect the Yin clan much. After all, Grand Elder Yin Gao was the pillar of the Yin family. Qin Yu bought a secluded manor in Yinshan City. When the Great Elder's immortal sense covered the entire Yin Mountain City in search of Yin Sulan, it woke Qin Yu up. Although Qin Yu and the Great Elder Yin Gao were very different in terms of soul power, there was still a huge gap between them. However, after Qin Yu's soul fused with Lu Xing's tear, not only was his soul realm highly compatible with the heaven and earth, at the same time, it was also very sensitive. Grand Elder's immortal sense could clearly sense it. Is the old man coming out of his training? Qin Yu stopped his training and stood up. He looked towards the direction of the Yin family's main hall. Then, Qin Yu disappeared into thin air. Yin family's main hall. Chattering noises resound unceasingly in the main hall. Currently, more than 100 people have gathered in the main hall of the Yin clan. These people are the elites of the upper echelons of the Yin clan. Yin Wu Tao, who was bewitched by Qin Yu, is also present. That day, Qin Yu only made Yin Wu Tao unconscious. He did not kill Yin Wu Tao. Quiet, Su Fan said loudly. Suddenly, the noisy hall quieted down. No one dared to speak, because everyone guessed that Grand Elder had come out. The first elder and the second elder walked out from the back of the hall one after another. Grand Elder Yin Gao's white eyebrows fluttered. His gaze was as sharp as a sword. The Yin family members did not dare to breathe. There were 3 thrones in the main hall. In the past, Grand Elder and Second Elder would sit on either side. In the middle, the head of the family would sit. Today, Grand Elder Yin Gao sat on the central throne. Second Elder Yin Shua sat beside him. I just came out of my training and received some very unpleasant news. Su Lan was killed. Grand Elder Yin Gao's voice was filled with anger. None of the Yin family members below dared to speak. Sweeping his gaze over the descending disciples, Yin Gao continued. I know this has nothing to do with you. After all, to be able to kill Su Lan means that this person is at least a golden immortal. Today, I have gathered everyone here to avenge Su Lan, and to choose a new family head. Choosing a family head? If Grand Elder wanted to choose someone, no one would dare to oppose. The matter of choosing a family head can be discussed later. Grand Elder said indifferently. Now the biggest problem in avenging Su Lan is, we have no news at all. May I ask how many honored guests? Did you find any information about the enemy? The honored guests of the Yin family shook their heads helplessly. Without any information, how were they to investigate? I have news about the murderer. Suddenly, a voice resounded throughout the main hall. A tall, thin man with a cold expression walked in. This man had a sword scar on his face, which made him look even colder. This man carried an immortal sword on his back. Carrying an immortal sword was a characteristic of sword immortals. This man was Qin Yu, who had changed his appearance. However, this body was that of a sword immortal puppet. Who are you? Who allowed you to enter my Yin family's main hall? Su Fan was the first to speak out. In this competition for the family head position, Su Fan was the strongest contender. Of course, he had to show off. You shut up, Qin Yu said indifferently. I am speaking to Yin family's grand elder, not a junior like you. Qin Yu did not give Su Fan any face. Not even a golden immortal. Qin Yu did not care about this person's existence. I am Yin Gao, a third-generation disciple of Jade Sword School. May I ask which sect you belong to? Yin Gao said. Qin Yu deliberately leaked a bit of his aura to let Yin Gao know his strength. Yin Gao found that this person's soul realm was only around a level 8 immortal. Naturally, he did not care too much. However, Qin Yu carried an immortal sword on his back. This meant that he belonged to a sword cultivation sect. There were many powerful sword cultivation sections. Jade Sword School was just a small sect among the sword cultivation sections. Yin Gao was not afraid of Qin Yu, but he was afraid of the sect behind Qin Yu. I don't belong to any sect, Qin Yu said with a smile. Yin Gao's face sank. You came to play with me? Grand Elder. This person has committed a great crime by trespassing into my Yin family's main hall. Now he is still boasting shamelessly. He should be severely punished. Su Tan stood up and said. Yin Gao looked at Qin Yu. He felt that Qin Yu's aura was beginning to change. It was becoming fierce. I did not come to play with you. I came to kill you. After saying this, Qin Yu's right hand grasped the hilt of his sword. He unsheathed his sword. The seventh sword art of the heaven-sundering sword art. A sharp pale white sword chi broke through the air and shot out. Yin Gao drew his sword at almost the same time, and sword chi also erupted. In an instant, Yin Gao's immortal sword fell to the ground with a clang. A thin sword chi wound appeared on his abdomen. Yin Gao's eyes were wide open as he slowly fell to the ground. His wide-open eyes were filled with disbelief. One sword. Level 7 Golden Immortal Sword Immortal Yin Gao dead. The entire Yin family's main hall was silent. It was as if everyone was scared silly. The pillar of the Yin family, the guardian of the Yin family, Yin Gao was dead. Yuanying of a level 7 Golden Immortal, I can't waste it. Qin Yu grabbed Yuanying and put her into the blazing profound ring. Then he disappeared from the main hall. Hearing Qin Yu's voice and seeing him teleport away with the Yuanying in his hand, everyone in the main hall finally wakes up with a start. Chapter 324. Grand Elder is dead. Each and every one of the Yin clan's descendants were stunned. Grand Elder Yin Gao had always been an invincible existence in the hearts of the Yin clan's descendants. He was the guardian of the Yin clan. However, today, the Great Elder was killed by the enemy's sword in front of so many people. Catch the murderer, catch the murderer! Su Fan roared. Following this roar, the entire hall was thrown into chaos. Some of the Yin clan's descendants were shouting for the murderer to be caught, while others were panicking. In fact, everyone knew that the catch the murderer was just talk. For someone who could kill the Great Elder with a single sword strike, destroying the Yin clan would be a piece of cake. The entire hall was in chaos. Second Elder. Su Fan walked to the side of Second Elder Yin Shua. Second Elder Yin Shua's face was ugly. Big Brother is after all a third-generation disciple of the Jade Sword School. If someone dared to kill him, it means that they have offended the Jade Sword School. Inform the Jade Sword School of this matter, and let them take action. Su Fan nodded. Every 100 years, 90% of our Yin clan's profits must be handed over to the Jade Sword School. Now it is time for them to take action. Times Yu Dian, Yin Gao's master, the only level 8 golden immortal of the Jade Sword School's second generation. On a nameless planet in the Indigo Bay star field, Yu Dian was preparing to use the planet's teleportation array to continue his journey. Suddenly, he felt a message from his messaging spirit pearl. He took out his messaging spirit pearl. Master, something big has happened. One of Yu Dian's disciples, Fengshan, sent a message to Yu Dian. Standing beside the teleportation array, Yu Dian shook his head helplessly. Among his disciples, Yin Gao was undoubtedly the weakest. Yin Gao was the most mature, capable of handling any situation without panicking. Regarding Yin Gao, Yu Dian had a special feeling. This was because among the 8 second-generation disciples of the Jade Sword School, he was the weakest. The other 7 were all level 9 golden immortals, and only he was a level 8 golden immortal. Similarly, when it came to understanding human nature, Yu Dian was the strongest of the 8 second-generation disciples. Yin Gao was also the weakest of his disciples, but his temperament was also the most mature. Seeing Yin Gao was like seeing himself in the past. Therefore, when Yu Dian left the Silver Stream Galaxy, he was prepared to let Yin Gaopei take over the core planet of the Silver Stream Galaxy, Red Leaf Planet. He was prepared to raise Yin Gaopei as his successor. Fengshan, why are you in such a hurry? In the future, you should learn from your junior brother Yin Gao and stay calm. Yu Dian finished his lecture and said, Speak, why are you in such a hurry? Master, Junior Yin Gao has been killed. Fengshan's message left Yu Dian dumbfounded. What did you say? Yu Dian found it hard to believe. Yesterday his beloved disciple Yin Gao sent him a message, saying that he had broken through level 6 Golden Immortal, and reached level 7 Golden Immortal. Junior brother Yin Gao is dead. He was killed by someone in the Yin clan's main hall. He was killed by a sword immortal in broad daylight. Fengshan said in detail. This news was just sent over by the Yin clan. Yu Dian felt dizzy for a moment, but soon recovered. Fengshan, you said he was killed by a sword immortal. Then who is this sword immortal? Yu Dian was angry. Fengshan replied, Shizhuan, I'm not sure either. However, I've asked the Yin family about this matter in detail. The Yin family sent me the appearance of the murderer. But just knowing the appearance is not enough to determine the murderer. If the murderer changed his appearance, Yu Dian was in charge of the Jade Sword School, and in a short while he recovered from the grief of his beloved disciple's death. Good, you don't have to worry about this matter for now. Yu Dian began to order. For now, the matters of Red Leaf Planet will be managed by your senior brother. As for Yin Gao's matter, wait for my return. Yu Dian understood that to be able to kill a level 7 Golden Immortal in broad daylight, the person's strength was definitely not ordinary. Yes, master. Fengshan felt relieved. He could also feel that the person who killed Yin Gao was definitely not ordinary. Naturally, he was too lazy to investigate. Yu Dian flipped his hand and received the transmission spirit bead. This time, Yu Dian had an important mission. He was not only representing the Jade Sword School, but also Emperor Yu and the Devil Realm, to discuss a matter. Therefore, no matter what, he could not delay. He must now rush to the core planet of the Indigo Bay star field, Blue Fire Star. I don't know how long it'll take to go back and forth, and to settle those matters with the Demon Realm. Yu Dian felt helpless. But no matter what, Emperor Yu's matter is as important as the heavens. If this matter is messed up, not only will I be unlucky, but even Master will be unlucky. First, I'll deal with Yin Gao's death when I return. Yu Dian stepped into the transfer array, paid 3 mid-grade elemental spirit stones and left. Times in the bamboo garden, Lu Minghan and the head of the Lu clan came to thank Qin Yu. Mr. Qin, thank you so much for this matter. Lu Minghan immediately said. He had already received the news of Yin Gao's death. With Yin Gao's death, the Yin clan would be completely suppressed by the Lu clan. Qin Yu smiled. It's not much of a thank you. After all, my martial uncle accepted your gifts. However, there is one thing that my martial uncle is not satisfied with. What is it? Lu Minghan asked. Qin Yu frowned. You said that the Yin clan was in charge of the transfer array on Amber Moon. Logically speaking, the Yin clan's wealth should be 100 times greater than yours. Why is it that my martial uncle only received a few hundred million after killing the Yin clan's head and grand elder? Qin Yu had always been puzzled by this point. Lu Minghan and the head of the Lu clan stiffened. Mr. Qin, this you do not understand? The head of the Lu clan inquired. Qin Yu saw the two's reaction and understood that he had asked a stupid question. However, there were many things that he did not understand about the immortal, devil and demon realms. So what if he did not understand? I told my martial uncle that the Yin clan's wealth would be a lot. So after he killed the 2 Yin clan's head, he realized that the wealth he received was too little. That is why I asked you too. Lu Minghan had a look of sudden realization. So that's how it is. Mr. Qin, it seems that you really do not understand. For so many years, the Yin clan has indeed earned a frightening amount of wealth through the transfer array. If all of that wealth belonged to the Yin clan, then their wealth would be 100 times greater than mine. However, The wealth that the Yin clan earned from the transfer array does not entirely belong to the Yin clan. More than 90% of it must be turned over to the Jade Sword School. In the end, the Jade Sword School will also turn over the majority of the wealth to Emperor Yu. Ming Han sighed. Emperor Yu controls such a large amount of power. How could he not collect wealth from his subordinates? The Jade Sword School collects wealth from Amber Moon, while Emperor Yu collects wealth from the Jade Sword School. Therefore, in the entire immortal devil and demon realms, most of the wealth is concentrated in the hands of Emperor Yu and the Mystic Emperor. Qin Yu suddenly understood. So that's how it is. This was similar to the tax collection of the mortal world. A city's government office would collect taxes, but almost all of it would be turned over to the state. Now, the Jade Sword School was equivalent to the government office, collecting wealth from Amber Moon. Emperor Yu and the Mystic Emperor were equivalent to the emperors of their respective countries. Thus, Qin Yu could only imagine the wealth of Emperor Yu and the others. Even if the majority of the wealth is turned over, the Yin clan will still live comfortably under the wings of Emperor Yu. In terms of wealth, at least 10 times that of my Lu clan. Ming Han changed the topic. Therefore, in comparison, it is more cost-effective to rely on Emperor Yu and the other great powers. Qin Yu smiled. Mr. Lu is right. If we rely on Emperor Yu, at least a portion of the wealth from the transfer array will fall into our hands. If we do not rely on Emperor Yu, then we won't even have a chance to receive the wealth, right? Yes. Ming Han nodded. Qin Yu immediately drank his tea and no longer spoke. Ming Han felt that Qin Yu did not want to continue the conversation. He immediately said, Mr. Qin, then we will take our leave. I won't see you out. Qin Yu smiled. Ming Han and the Lu clan had left the bamboo garden, leaving behind a pile of immortal dawn, holy elemental stones, and other treasures worth millions. Qin Yu naturally did not care about these things. Han Shu. Qin Yu called out. Han Shu walked in from the outside in high spirits. He immediately bowed and said, Disciple greets master. Qin Yu points at the gifts sent by the Lu clan's clan master with a single hand and says, These things were sent by the Lu clan, so I have no use for them. They are all yours. It seems Qin Yu does not care about them at all. Han Shu was stunned. Master, you said you are giving them all to me? Han Shu still felt a little incredulous. Qin Yu nodded and said, Quickly accept these things. I still have many things to discuss with you. Qin Yu's tone contained a trace of displeasure. Han Shu was afraid that Qin Yu would be angry, so he accepted the gifts. Han Shu, I have not accepted you as my disciple for long, but in this short period of time, I have felt an astonishing change in you. Qin Yu's voice was slow and low. Change? Han Shu smiled. These days, no one dared to be disrespectful to him. Even the Lu clan had greeted him warmly. In the blink of an eye, Han Shu had become the treasure of the Lu clan. Han Shu was floating in the air. In the past you practiced diligently, but these days, I see that your practice time has sharply decreased. Instead, you are enjoying yourself with the other Lu clan members. Am I right? Qin Yu's voice was cold. Han Shu's whole body trembled. These days, Han Shu had indeed lived a comfortable life. After all, he did not have any great ambitions. He was already satisfied with his status in the Lu clan. Disciple is wrong. Han Shu hurriedly apologized. You are not wrong. Qin Yu shook his head. The one who is wrong is me. Honored teacher Yu. Han Shu was frightened. Qin Yu says with a sigh. If I hadn't appeared, you would have reached the Dujia stage sooner or later, if you had been practicing so hard day after day. Even though you're under the protection of others. After you've overcome the tribulation, you'll become a celestial immortal or a loose immortal. Your meridians would no longer exist. After that, you would be like a phoenix reborn from the ashes, showing the most dazzling light. Soaring to the heavens, no one would be able to stop you. But because of my appearance, your life has changed. At the same time, your perseverance is not as strong as it was in the past. Qin Yu sighed. Han Shu, do you know who it was that gave you the respect that you have now? Honored teacher gave it to me. Han Shu immediately answered. Indeed, it was precisely because Qin Yu was Lu Shu's master that the Lu clan's patriarch valued Lu Shu, and the Lu clan's juniors were very respectful towards Lu Shu. The light in Qin Yu's eyes suddenly sharpened. He stared at Han Shu. Han Shu, you have to understand one thing. If you want people to respect you, you must strive for it yourself. If you rely on your teacher's prestige, it will not last long. You can be so comfortable when I'm by your side, but if I'm not by your side one day, with that little bit of power of yours, you still want to be respected by others? Qin Yu asks in reply. Han Shu's entire back was drenched in cold sweat. At this moment, he completely sobered up from the fluttering life he had been living for a period of time. What others brought would not last long. Only by relying on oneself would it be the most real. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I will begin my closed-door training soon. When I come out, I want to see the amazing changes in you. Otherwise, you don't need to call me honored teacher anymore. Qin Yu said indifferently. Han Shu's eyes were firm, and he respectfully said, Yes, honored teacher. This disciple will not disappoint, honored teacher. Times in the bamboo garden training room. The private room was completely empty. It was likely that no one would have thought that one of the crushed stones on the floor of the private room was actually the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion. As for Qin Yu himself, he had entered the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion to train. Inside the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion, Qin Yu sat cross-legged in the empty garden. Beside him was a clear fountain. Suddenly, Qin Yu opened his eyes. Back then, Qin Yu looked at the stone table not far away. He still remembered himself, Xiao He and Fei. The three brothers drank to their heart's content at that stone table. But now he was all alone. His father and other relatives were still in the mortal world. His beloved Li heir was nowhere to be found. Even his two brothers, who talked about everything, were in the distant demon realm. Whether it was in front of Shuo Yan, Zhang Yuan, Lu Minghan, or even his disciple Han Shu, Qin Yu was the kind of person who was rational to the extreme. But Qin Yu also wanted to find someone to talk to. In the past he could talk to his brothers, but now, he could only think about it by himself. In the vast universe, when would he be able to find his brothers? Qin Yu felt an unbearable sense of loneliness. That loneliness only made Qin Yu's expression colder and more stern. This time, I will directly raise my soul to the level of a first-level golden immortal. Then I will directly refine the first-level golden immortal Yuanying. Then I will be able to open the second layer of the Atlas in one fell swoop. Qin Yu could no longer hold back. He really wanted to reunite with his brothers. Calming his mind, Qin Yu completely immersed his consciousness into his soul. He began the Three Souls 9 refinements, constantly raising the level of his soul. 1 year, 2 years. While training in the first layer human soul space, Qin Yu was unable to sense the passage of time at all. Qin Yu's soul was also unceasingly transforming. Chapter 325. Silver Stream Galaxy, Red Leaf Planet, Jade Sword School. Outside the main hall of the Jade Sword School, there were 99 flights of stairs. Outside the flight of stairs was a vast plaza. Currently, every flight of stairs was filled with elite disciples of the Jade Sword School. Hundreds of elite disciples of the Jade Sword School were lined up in 2 long rows, from the flight of stairs to the plaza. Every disciple of the Jade Sword School had a smile on their face. At the top of the stairs, at the entrance of the main hall, the head of the Jade Sword School, Yu Qingzi, was waiting with his 4 direct disciples, as well as the 3rd and 4th generation disciples who had reached level 9 and level 8 Golden Immortal. Master, this time senior brother Yu Dian has done such a great service. Our Jade Sword School disciples are all proud. A young man standing behind the head of the Jade Sword School, Yu Qingzi, smiled. Yu Qingzi's face was also full of joy. He nodded and said, This time Emperor Yu specially sent me a message. His Majesty Emperor Yu is also very happy. Yu Dian has really given me a lot of faith. Yu Dian Jr. brother's talent in communication is needless to say. A middle-aged man standing behind Yu Qingzi said with a smile. Ancestor, Martial Uncle Yu Dian has arrived. A 3rd-generation disciple said. Immediately, the experts of the Jade Sword School looked down. They saw Yu Dian walking up the stairs with a smile on his face. On both sides of the stairs, the disciples of the Jade Sword School looked at Yu Dian with respect and worship. The entire school's elites came to welcome him. Such glory the other disciples of the Jade Sword School have never enjoyed. Step by step. Finally, Yu Dian arrived in front of Yu Qingzi. Disciple Yu Dian greets master. Yu Dian respectfully knelt down and saluted Yu Qingzi. Yu Qingzi immediately reached out and helped Yu Dian up. Yu Dian, this time the deal with the Devil Realm is very important to His Majesty Emperor Yu. You were able to achieve such success, and even earned more wealth than His Majesty expected. Now that His Majesty Emperor Yu also values you, it won't be long before you will be able to join His Majesty Emperor Yu. Yu Dian couldn't help but be overjoyed. Under Yu Qingzi's command, his achievements were limited. But under His Majesty Emperor Yu, who was at the peak of the immortal realm, his achievements were limitless. If Emperor Yu was happy, he could casually reward Yu Dian with many benefits. Congratulations, senior brother Yu Dian. Congratulations, junior brother Yu Dian. Congratulations, martial uncle Yu Dian. Although Yu Dian's strength was slightly weaker than the second-generation disciples of the same generation, but now his status was much higher than the second-generation disciples. Master, this is still just a guess. To be able to stay by Master's side is your disciple's greatest wish. Yu Dian replied immediately. Yu Qingzi smiled and said in a gratified manner, people walk towards higher places while water flows towards lower places. What's more, if I have a disciple working for Emperor Yu, it would be of great benefit to my Jade Sword School. Master is right. Yu Dian respectfully replied. All right, don't stand outside. We can start the banquet now, Yu Qing said calmly. Soon after, a grand banquet was held in the Jade Sword School's main hall. Yu Dian became the main character of the banquet. One by one, the disciples toasted to Yu Dian. Only when night fell did the disciples disperse one by one. Yu Dian returned to his residence after being sent off by his fellow disciples. Late at night, the night was as cold as water. Standing in his courtyard, Yu Dian's heart was completely calm. The hustle and bustle of the main hall had disappeared, leaving behind only an endless silence. Yen Gao, my disciple, I originally wanted you to take over my position. Who would have thought that you would be killed by a sword immortal? For the past 10 years, I have been wholeheartedly focused on Emperor Yu's affairs, and did not have the time to avenge you. But now, I have finally succeeded in my return. I fear that I will not stay in the Silver Stream Galaxy for long. In this short period of time, I will do my best to avenge you. Looking at the endless night sky, Yu Dian's heart was filled with killing intent. Times Maple Moon's teleportation array. The teleportation array took up a very large area. It was 10 meters long and wide, with all kinds of talismans, seals, crystals, and so on. It was very complex. When the teleportation array was first built, it was very complicated, but once it was built, it was easy to maintain. Maple Moon had a total of 3 teleportation arrays, each leading to 3 different places. Usually, there were only a few dozen people around each teleportation array. But today, there were hundreds of people gathered around the teleportation array. Leading them was the Yin clan's new Grand Elder, the former Second Elder Yin Shua, and the new head of the clan Yin Sufan. Yin Shua and Yin Sufan waited quietly, not daring to slack off. Grand Elder, when do you think Senior Yu Dian will arrive? Yin Sufan whispered. Yin Shua shook his head. Who knows? The message from the transmission spirit pearl will arrive today. Who knows what time it will be? We just have to wait here. All these years, the Lu and Wang families have been constantly suppressing our Yin family. Today, Senior Yu Dian is here. He is our hope. Yin Sufan nodded. Since the death of the Grand Elder Yin Gao and the head of the clan Yin Sulan, the 2 golden immortals of the Yin clan were all killed. Without a golden immortal, the Yin clan was naturally suppressed. 2 years ago, Yin Sufan took the risk of breaking through to level 1 golden immortal. But as a level 1 golden immortal, he was no match for the Lu and Wang clans. Quietly waiting. Suddenly, one of the teleportation arrays shone brightly. The hundreds of Yin clansmen focused their attention, each of them respectful. However, the person who appeared was a short and fat man. His strength was only at level 2 immortal. The short and fat man was frightened by the hundreds of people in front of him. He couldn't understand why so many people were welcoming him. The hundreds of Yin clansmen looked at the short and fat man with resentment in their hearts. "Get him out of here quickly," Su Fan shouted. A Yin clansman stepped forward and took the short and fat man away. The rest of the Yin clansmen continued to wait. Minutes and seconds passed. The sky gradually darkened. In the evening, the teleportation array lit up again. The Yin clansmen waited respectfully. When the light disappeared, 5 people appeared in the teleportation array. Of these 5 people, Su Fan could not see through any one of them. At least 5 golden immortals. Whether or not they were Yu Dian's group, Su Fan didn't dare to be disrespectful. "Yin Shua, Yin Su Fan, where are you?" One of the young men shouted. "This one is Yin Shua. This one is Yin Su Fan." Su Fan continued. "May I ask if these 5 seniors are senior Yu Dian's group?" These 5 people were indeed Yu Dian's group. Yu Dian knew that the person who killed Yin Gao was extremely strong, so he brought along a few disciples to help. Among the 5, the weakest was a level 7 golden immortal. "That's right," the young man said. The young man continued. "My name is Lu Chao. I am Yin Gao's junior brother. Listen up, this is my master Yu Dian." As he spoke, Lu Chao looked at a middle-aged man with a cold face. "Greetings, Senior Yu Dian." Yin Shua and Su Fan respectfully greeted, while the rest of the Yin clansmen bowed. "This is Senior Apprentice Brother Huan Yu, a disciple of my martial uncle. He is now a level 9 golden immortal." Lu Chao pointed to a white-haired young man. Yin Shua and Su Fan's hearts trembled. "Level 9 golden immortal? This is an extraordinary person." "Greetings, Senior Huan Yu." Yin Shua and Su Fan bowed again. Huan Yu only nodded slightly. This time, he came because he wanted to give face to his martial uncle Yu Dian. Otherwise, how could he come to this unknown planet? "This is my senior apprentice brother Feng Lian." Senior apprentice brother Feng Lian is also a level 8 golden immortal. Lu Chao continued his introduction. Level 8 golden immortal? To them, this was also a high and mighty level. "Greetings, Senior Feng Lian." Yin Shua and Su Fan respectfully bowed again. Lu Chao continued. "This is Senior Apprentice Brother Huan Feng." Senior Apprentice Brother Huan Feng. Senior Apprentice Brother Feng Lian and I are all direct disciples of Master Yu Dian. Senior Apprentice Brother Huan Feng is also a level 8 golden immortal. Another level 8 golden immortal. Yin Shua and Su Fan respectfully bowed again. "Greetings, Senior Huan Feng. The last one is me. My power is a bit lower, level 7 golden immortal." Lu Chao smiled. "If you have any problems in the future, just let me know. I can help you inform Master." This Lu Chao was obviously a man of business. Even if he was a level 7 golden immortal, Yin Shua and Su Fan still bowed. The group went directly to the Yin clan. Yin clan's main hall. Yu Dian sat in the main seat of the hall. Huan Feng, Feng Lian, Lu Chao and his martial nephew Huan Yu sat on either side. In the middle of the hall stood 3 people. Yin Shua, Su Fan, and an old man with a green beard. "Senior Yu Dian, we followed your orders to secretly investigate the Wang and Lu clans. This old man was a guest elder of the Lu clan. From him, we obtained a very important piece of information." Su Fan respectfully said. "Speak." Yu Dian's eyes lit up. Su Fan looked at the old man with the green beard. The old man respectfully replied. "Senior, about 10 years ago, a very mysterious guest elder came to the Lu clan. This guest elder's power was unfathomable. At the same time, he had a level 8 sky demon as his guard. In the end, the head of the Lu clan and the grand elder of the Lu clan went to visit him. Not long after, the grand elder and the head of the Yin clan were killed." Yu Dian looked at Su Fan. "Is there anything wrong with the Wang clan?" Su Fan shook his head. The Wang clan didn't have any strange or special experts. Now it seems that this new guest elder of the Lu clan is the most suspicious. "Senior Yu Dian, didn't you say?" "My brother didn't offend any experts. The most likely suspects are the Wang and Lu clans who have a fundamental conflict of interest with us." Peng! Yu Dian slammed the teacup down on the table. Su Fan, Yin Shua and the guest elder couldn't help but tremble. A guest elder of the Lu clan? Yu Dian's eyes were cold. Take this guest elder back with you. Give me all the information on the Lu clan guest elder. I will deal with this matter. Yu Dian said coldly. Su Fan hurriedly replied. Yes, Senior Yu Dian. Times it was already late at night. A cool breeze blew, but deep in the night, there were 5 people riding the wind. Master, this Lu clan guest elder is really interesting. Ever since he became a guest elder of the Lu clan, he has been in seclusion. After 10 years he still hasn't come out. Lu Chao said with a smile. The strongest of the 5, the level 9 golden immortal Huan Yu sneered. This is simple. We don't have to chase him all over the world. When the time comes, we can just capture him. It is better to kill by mistake than to let him go. Yu Dian muttered. This Lu clan guest elder. I have a feeling that the death of Yin Gao's disciple has something to do with him. Master, if the 5 of us attack together, unless he is an immortal emperor level expert, he will not be able to survive. What's more, Senior Huan Yu is not an ordinary level 9 golden immortal, he is the strongest sword immortal. Even against a level 1 immortal emperor, he would not be at a disadvantage. Feng Lian said with a smile. The others immediately laughed. Jade Sword School is a sword immortal sect. Immortals of the same level as Yu Dian are far inferior to sword immortals. No matter what, everyone still needs to be careful. Don't forget the words of the new head of the Yin clan. Yu Dian's face became serious. Yin Gao, a level 7 golden immortal, was killed by a single sword strike. Huan Yu, Lu Chao, Hung Feng and Feng Lian were startled. The smiles on their faces instantly disappeared. A single sword strike? A level 7 golden immortal was killed by a single sword strike. It was not so simple. Haha, Master. I don't think the killer is an immortal emperor. I don't believe an immortal emperor would be so bored as to kill a golden immortal. Lu Chao said with a laugh. Yes, an immortal emperor would lower himself to kill a golden immortal? Hung Feng and Feng Lian also laughed. The atmosphere between the 5 of them also relaxed. They did not believe an immortal emperor-level expert would come to a small planet like Amber Moon just to kill a golden immortal. Very well, let's go to Lu Feng City's bamboo garden and capture the Lu clan guest elder Qin Yu. Yu Dian smiled. Of course, everything will go according to the plan. According to the 5 elements chainsword formation, even a lion needs to use all its strength to catch a rabbit. We cannot afford to be careless. Yes, Master Martial Uncle. The 4 third-generation disciples respectfully complied. The 5 experts suddenly sped up and turned into 5 streaks of sword light, disappearing into the horizon. Times within the bamboo garden. Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan were resting in the courtyard above the secret chamber. They had not left the bamboo garden for so many years, because Qin Yu was cultivating in the secret chamber. Master has been in seclusion for 10 years. I wonder what level Master has reached. Zhang Yuan smiled. Shuo Yin muttered. With Master's miraculous cultivation speed 10 years, I'm afraid he has far surpassed us. He should be able to open the 2nd layer of the Atlas. When that time comes, countless demon kings will come out of the 2nd layer, and we will not have the opportunity to work for Master. Just as Shuo Yin and Zhang Yuan were sighing. Pooh! The air vibrated and the bamboo in the bamboo garden burst open. Countless bamboo leaves fluttered and covered the entire space above the bamboo garden. Immediately, the entire space began to tremble. Sharp sword chi like countless flying arrows shot towards the bamboo garden. Pooh! The maids and guards of the bamboo garden were directly pierced by the sword chi. Broken limbs and blood splattered all over the bamboo garden. Screams, and the sound of the sword chi piercing through the air were incessant. The entire bamboo garden turned into a sword chi hell in an instant. Qin Yu, come out and surrender. A voice resounded throughout the bamboo garden. At the same time, 5 godlike figures appeared in the sky above the bamboo garden. They were spread out in 5 different directions. On their backs were immortal swords, and in their hands were the sword arts of the Jade Sword sect. Chapter 326. Within the boundless space, Qin Yu was sitting cross-legged in the air. His 2 hands were skillfully forming those 36 hand seals. These 36 hand seals were the first 3 hand seals of the 3 souls' 9 refinements. This space was Qin Yu's mortal soul space. Every time Qin Yu used these 36 hand seals, he had to consume a large amount of his soul's energy. This made it very strenuous for Qin Yu to use these hand seals in the beginning. However, as time passed, Qin Yu became more and more proficient in using them. Perhaps in a flash, Qin Yu was able to complete the 36 hand seals. Qin Yu was immersed in this wonderful state. In this wonderful state, he did not feel the passage of time. He just continued to cultivate, without stopping for a moment. Master. A voice sounded in the depths of Qin Yu's mind. It caused Qin Yu to suddenly wake up from that state. Qin Yu Immortal Mansion. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, Qin Yu, who had been cultivating for 10 years, suddenly opened his eyes. Qin Yu saw the familiar scenery of the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion. The sound of the fountain beside it was so clear. Master, something bad has happened. There are enemies coming. Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan were very anxious. Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan were not afraid that they would be in danger, because they could escape into the Atlas in an instant. But they were worried about Qin Yu, worried that Qin Yu, who was cultivating in the secret room, would be killed by the enemies. However, Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan did not know that Qin Yu was cultivating in the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion. Enemies? Qin Yu frowned. His immortal sense immediately extended out of the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion and began to carefully observe the surroundings of the bamboo garden. Since his soul had fused with Lu Xing's tear, Qin Yu's soul had undergone an astonishing transformation. For example, when his soul was still in the celestial immortal realm, he could use greater teleportation, and his soul force had become extremely sensitive. Even if there were 5 enemies, with the strongest being a level 9 golden immortal, Qin Yu's immortal awareness was able to clearly sense the existence of these 5 people. 5 people. Every one of them is very strong. Qin Yu's heart trembled. But in just a moment, Qin Yu noticed the countless deaths of the servants in the bamboo garden. He used his immortal sense to scan the entire Lufeng city. Qin Yu discovered that Lu Hanshu was in the Lu family's main hall. Shuo Yan, Zhang Yuan, you two don't have to avoid the sword qi. Enter the Atlas first. Qin Yu said with a thought, and Shuo Yan and Zhang Yuan both entered the Atlas. In any case, with the protection of the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion, Qin Yu didn't believe that those 5 people would be able to discover the Qin Yu Immortal Mansion, set up by Immortal Emperor and Yang. First, I need to figure out what level I've reached after such a long period of cultivation. Qin Yu calculated in his mind. Cultivation knows no time. This saying is indeed true. I feel like I've been cultivating for 10 years in the blink of an eye. That's right. 10 years ago, the Lu family had told Ming Han that the teleportation array competition would be held in 10 years. It's supposed to be held this year, but I don't know if it's held yet. At this moment, Qin Yu instead thought of this. Immediately, Qin Yu threw away these distracting thoughts and began to carefully examine his progress. I've wasted at least half a year. Qin Yu carefully examined his progress and found that he had successfully cultivated his human soul. One must know that 10 years ago, Qin Yu's soul had reached the level of a level 8 immortal. 10 years later, reaching the level of a level 1 golden immortal was not surprising. But Qin Yu was immersed in the wonderful feeling of cultivation, so he didn't notice that his human soul had been successfully cultivated. Now, he could begin the cultivation of the Earth Soul. Soul, level 1 golden immortal. Qin Yu couldn't help but secretly rejoice. Now, refining 1 or 2 level 1 golden immortals, yuanying shouldn't be difficult. Qin Yu was now very confident, but Qin Yu didn't want to start refining yuanying at this juncture, because the 5 great experts were outside. If he didn't come out, who knows what the furious 5 great experts would do. Moreover, Qin Yu didn't care too much about the 5 great experts. Although the Sword Immortal Puppet is a level 9 golden immortal sword immortal, its sword technique is the most powerful heaven-sundering sword technique in the immortal, devil and demon realms. Moreover, the Sword Immortal Puppet's body is almost indestructible. Relying on the toughness of its body, even if it can't kill a level 1 golden immortal sword immortal, it won't lose. Qin Yu was very confident. Which sword immortal's body is comparable to the sword immortal puppet? Which sword immortal's sword technique is comparable to the heaven sundering sword technique? Because of these two factors, Qin Yu's sword immortal puppet is stronger than a level 9 golden immortal sword immortal of the same level. Those 5 great experts are very strong. I can't just use a strand of my consciousness to control them. I have to use my entire soul to control them. Qin Yu's soul merged with Lu Xing's tear and flew out of his body. With a thought, the sword immortal puppet's body appeared. His soul directly merged with the sword immortal puppet's body. Once an immortal weapon or divine weapon recognizes a master, the true control is still the soul. Qin Yu's soul entered the sword immortal puppet. With a thought, he merged the blazing ice ring and other items into the sword immortal puppet's body. Immediately after, Qin Yu exited the Qin Yu immortal mansion with the sword immortal puppet's body. Times above the bamboo garden were Yu Dian and the 4 third-generation disciples of the Jade Sword School. Heng Yu, Feng Lian, Heng Feng and Lu Chao. Now the 5 of them had a serious expression. Master, there is not a trace of life in the bamboo garden. Everyone is dead. That the Lu family's guest elder is also dead? Feng Lian asked doubtfully. Yu Dian also frowned. After the formation of the 5 elements sword array, the 5 of them only used the imperial air technique. Countless sword qi filled the entire area of the sword array. Although there was a lot of sword qi, it was not a threat to the golden immortals. But who would have thought that after using the imperial air technique, there was not a trace of life in the bamboo garden? Lu Chao also said, Master, the Lu family is only a small family on a small planet like Amber Moon. You can guess the strength of the Lu family's guest elder just by looking at the strength of the Yin family's guest elder. I estimate that the Lu family's guest elder was only a level 9 immortal. Maybe he was killed by our imperial air technique. Feng Lian's face had a trace of a smile. If the suspected killer of the Lu family's guest elder was really just an ordinary level 9 immortal, even if he was killed by the imperial air technique just now, that would really be a loss of face. Yu Dian pondered for a moment, then looked at Heng Yu. Martial nephew, your soul is the strongest here. Look, is there anyone else in the bamboo garden? Yes, martial uncle. Heng Yu's immortal sense spread out and completely covered the entire bamboo garden. Like a ripple, it searched every corner of the bamboo garden. Even Huan Yu's immortal sense had searched for the speck of dust formed by the Qin Yu immortal mansion. But the Qin Yu immortal mansion's illusory restriction was set up by immortal Emperor An Yang. How could Heng Yu break it? Martial uncle, I have already searched the bamboo garden. There is indeed no one in the bamboo garden. Just as Heng Yu was about to finish his sentence, his voice suddenly stopped as if he was choking. Because a figure slowly walked out of the bamboo garden. A handsome young man in black with an immortal sword on his back. The 5 golden immortals all looked at the young man. It's an expert. Yu Dian and the other 4 felt their hearts tremble. The 5 of them couldn't detect the slightest trace of Qin Yu's aura. Naturally, they thought that Qin Yu was stronger than them. Qin Yu slightly raised his head. His ice-cold gaze swept over the several people above him. Who are you, and why are you acting so atrociously in my bamboo garden? Qin Yu coldly asked. At this time, Yu Dian also felt that the situation was a bit tricky. He originally hoped that Qin Yu would be a level 8 golden immortal, or at most a level 9 golden immortal. But now, it seems that Qin Yu's strength was too strong for them to be sure. I am Yu Dian, Yin Gao's master. Who are you? What relationship do you have with Qin Yu? Yu Dian indifferently asked. Yu Dian was not afraid of Qin Yu at all, because he, Yu Dian, was about to work for Emperor Yu. Who would he be afraid of? Even if he met people from other great powers, it would be fine to kill them. After all, he couldn't lose face for Emperor Yu. Yin Gao's master? Qin Yu understood why the other party wanted to kill him, but Qin Yu was a bit surprised. How could the other party be so sure that he was the killer? Qin Yu didn't know. The other party was only suspicious. Who am I? You don't have the qualifications to know my relationship with Qin Yu. Qin Yu smiled. I am Qin Yu's martial uncle. Qin Yu's sword immortal puppet body was disguised as Lan Feng. Martial uncle? Yu Dian's heart immediately guessed many things. A person who could kill Yin Gao would become a guest of the Lu family? Yu Dian didn't believe it. Now he understood that Qin Yu's martial arts were very weak. Qin Yu was a guest of the Lu family. As for the person who killed Yin Gao, it was most likely Qin Yu, who asked his martial uncle to help. You killed Yin Gao? Yu Dian directly asked. So what if I did? So what if I didn't? Qin Yu retorted. What can you do to me? Qin Yu's words contained a trace of disdain. Yu Dian, Huan Yu and the other four's faces became ugly. This person in front of them didn't give them any face. But the leader of this revenge, Yu Dian, wasn't a reckless person. May I ask if you are a Xian immortal expert? If you are, then you are at least in the same generation as my master. There is a reason for your arrogance. But if you are not, you insulted us like this, we at least have to ask for an explanation. Yu Dian's words were both soft and hard. Xian immortal? I am still one step away from that stage. Qin Yu smiled indifferently. Don't be so suspicious. I will tell you clearly. I am a level 9 golden immortal sword immortal. Do you think I am afraid of you? Qin Yu looked at them with a mocking gaze. Yu Dian's face stiffened. Bamboo Garden, I have lived here for almost 10 years. I still have some feelings for every blade of grass and every tree here. But such a beautiful place is now a ruin. And the servants and maids here. Qin Yu takes a look at the corpses of the maids and guards around him, and the blood all over the ground. His voice becomes cold. Since you're not going to attack me, I'm going to kill you for the sake of the bamboo garden, and everyone in the bamboo garden. Do it. A low voice sounded in the minds of Hung Yu, Feng Lian, Hung Feng and Lu Chao. Then Yu Dian's second voice sounded in their minds. Use your full strength, use your last move. The level 9 golden immortal Hung Yu took the lead while the other four acted as support. Yu Jian and the other four all formed mysterious sword seals. The 5 immortal swords floating above their heads also trembled. The 5 golden immortals' bodies faintly emitted a terrifying energy. Qin Yu slightly narrowed his eyes. They radiated coldness. Using such a ruthless move? Qin Yu smiled. As if he was stepping on a flight of stairs, he stepped into the void. He did not care about the 5 immortal swords' ultimate move. Yu Dian, Hung Yu and the others saw Qin Yu's arrogance and lack of defense. They could not help but sneer in their hearts. They knew full well how terrifying the attack that was about to descend. 5 elements chainsword formation. 5 elements break. Break, like a thunderclap. The 5 golden immortals shouted at the same time. At the same time, 5 terrifying rays of light flew out from their bodies and merged into the immortal swords above their heads. Immediately, Qin Yu only felt the sky around him suddenly brighten. A slender, lightning-like sword slashed down towards Qin Yu. If an immortal emperor-level expert was here, they would be able to clearly see that the sword slash was in fact a giant immortal sword. Qin Yu looked up. Looking up at the sword slashing down, he did not move. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded. Although the explosion occurred hundreds of meters in the air, the powerful explosion caused the air to tremble violently. Below Qin Yu, all of the buildings within a radius of 1,000 meters have been completely destroyed, leaving only wreckage behind. Yu Dian, Hung Yu and the others were puzzled. This self-proclaimed martial uncle Qin Yu, why didn't he resist or dodge? When the dust settled, Qin Yu's figure appeared in front of the 5 immortal swords. Yu Dian, Lu Chao and the others were stunned. They did not dare to believe that a level 9 golden immortal could survive a direct hit like that. Even the head of the Jade Sword School, Yu Qingzi, would have to dodge this move. Qin Yu smiled at the 5 immortal swords. The power of your sword is quite strong, but it is still far from enough to kill me. Just now it was you all who attacked, now it is my turn. Qin Yu's right hand was already touching the hilt of the immortal sword on his back. The 5 immortal swords were instantly awakened. Qin Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. Heaven-sundering sword technique. 8 sword slash. With the immortal sword pointing to the sky, 8 rays of sword chi shot out in all directions. However, 6 rays of sword chi twined together to form 3 more powerful rays of sword chi. The 5 rays of sword chi attacked the 5 immortal swords. These 3 powerful sword chis were aimed at Yu Dian, Hung Feng and Feng Lian, the 3 level 8 golden immortals. The other 2 weaker sword chis were aimed at level 7 golden immortal Lu Chao and level 9 golden immortal Hung Yu. Chapter 327. Yu Dian and the others were still immersed in the shock of Qin Yu's survival. By the time they saw Qin Yu pull out his sword, the 3 powerful and 2 weak sword chi were already in front of them. Heaven Sundering Sword Technique's 8th stance. How could a level 8 golden immortal block it? This move consumes almost 50% of the energy of 9 top-grade elemental holy stones. If I still can't kill you, wouldn't that be a huge loss? Qin Yu thought to himself. He was very confident in killing Yu Dian, Hung Feng, Feng Lian and Lu Chao. However, Qin Yu wasn't confident in killing the level 9 golden sword immortal Hung Yu with this move. Therefore, when Qin Yu used the 8th stance, he rushed towards Hung Yu. Pooh! Pooh! Feng Lian and Hung Feng were shot in the abdomen and fell to the ground. As for the level 8 golden immortal Yu Dian, although he was talented in business, his talent in combat was too weak. His awareness of defense was even inferior to his 2 disciples. He was also instantly hit. As for the level 7 golden immortal Lu Chao's power was the lowest, but he was very smart and agile. When he saw that Qin Yu was not dead, he was the first to react. He even dodged. But the sword chi that attacked him was not completely straight. The sword chi even turned to chase after its target. After all, this sword chi was the Heaven Sundering Sword Chi. This was the most extraordinary sword technique that came from the divine weapon Heaven Splitter. The Heaven Splitter sword technique. How could Lu Chao's petty tricks be able to resist the mystical power of this sword technique? Therefore Lu Chao also died. In a battle between experts, even if the difference in power was not large, sometimes one move could decide life and death. Who would be bored enough to fight for 300 rounds? To kill the opponent, one must use a killing move. A hasty response, coupled with the difference in power. 4 of the 5 golden immortals died on the spot. Qin Yu used this technique to kill the weak golden immortals. Then, he went to kill Hung Yu alone. Hung Yu coldly said. Huan Yu's immortal sword deflected the sword chi that was attacking him. However, he couldn't help but fly back a few hundred meters. He was shocked. What a powerful sword chi. Even if it was just one of the sword chi in all directions, its power was still not to be underestimated. No wonder senior uncle and the rest couldn't escape. Huan Yu's figure flew up into the sky. He already knew of Qin Yu's strength. Fighting close to the ground meant that he couldn't use his full strength. It was much more fun to fight in the air tens of thousands of meters above the ground. You still want to fight me one-on-one? When Qin Yu saw that Huan Yu was still looking at him provocatively, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Immediately after, he soared into the sky as well. Tens of thousands of meters above the ground, Qin Yu and Huan Yu stood in the air, staring at each other. Times above, the 2 super experts were fighting. Below, the Yen clan, Lu clan, and even the Wang clan had gathered. How could these people not feel the huge energy fluctuations? The Lu family head and Ming Han looked at each other and smiled bitterly. The Yen clan head Yin Su Fan and Grand Elder Yin Shua had also arrived at Lu Feng City. Ming Han, your Lu clan invited a very powerful guest elder. He actually killed a senior from the Jade Sword School? Yin Shua sneered. Don't quibble. I have already informed the Jade Sword School of everything that happened. The Lu family head and Ming Han felt helpless. The Silver Stream Galaxy was under the command of Emperor Yu, one of the 36 rulers, Yu Qingzi. Offending the Jade Sword School was the same as offending Emperor Yu. Offending Emperor Yu? For a small clan like the Lu clan, it would be disastrous. Yin Shua, don't you dare slander me. My Lu clan's guest elder is only a level 9 immortal. You also felt the energy fluctuations from the battle. How could my Lu clan recruit such a level of expert? Ming Han had a righteous look on his face. Yin Shua, there is less than a month left until the 100-year teleportation array competition. You don't have the confidence to win, yet you want to use such a despicable scheme to harm me. I believe that the Jade Sword School's sect master will be able to see through your dirty thoughts. Yin Shua sneered. I won't argue with you. The death of the Jade Sword School's elite will be investigated by the Jade Sword School's sect master. When the time comes, everything will be revealed. Yan Shuo looked at Ming Han with disdain. Ming Han responded with a smile. At this point, Ming Han's heart was firm. I know Qin Yu. As for Qin Yu's master and elders, they have nothing to do with my Lu clan. Qin Yu, oh Qin Yu, that martial uncle of yours is too strong. Yan Gao's master, and some of his martial brothers are even stronger than Yan Gao. Yan Gao is a level 7 golden immortal, and those people are at least level 8 golden immortals. Even if they joined forces, your martial uncle still managed to kill them. Ming Han didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but Ming Han knew one thing. His Lu clan couldn't afford to offend the Jade Sword School. Similarly, his Lu clan couldn't afford to offend Qin Yu. A power that could kill a level 7 or 8 golden immortal was not something his Lu clan could afford to offend. Therefore, his Lu clan had to please both sides. While he was thinking, Ming Han's eyes were fixed on the sky. There, two super experts were engaged in a final battle of life and death. Times pung. The air shook violently as the two sword energies collided. The two figures flew in two different directions, but in the next moment, they stood in the air again. Hung Yu wiped the corner of his mouth. The cold air around his body grew stronger. He stared coldly at Qin Yu. You are very strong, and your sword technique is very profound. I don't have the confidence to kill you. If you can't kill me, then I'll kill you, Qin Yu said coldly. Qin Yu wanted to experience the feeling of facing a real sword cultivator. Therefore, he didn't hesitate to consume the energy of 9 top-grade elemental spirit stones. Again and again, the power of his attacks wasn't that great. The two collided. Qin Yu's body was that of a sword immortal puppet. It could be said to be immortal. Until now, Qin Yu hadn't seen any attacks that could harm the puppet's body. Therefore, Qin Yu's body was almost unscathed. On the contrary, Hung Yu was heavily injured. However, Huan Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. Huan Yu was an extremely arrogant person. Even in the Jade Sword School, no one dared to say that they could win against Huan Yu for sure. This was because not only was Hung Yu ruthless to his enemies, he was also ruthless to himself. If you want to kill me, then be prepared to receive my final move, Hung Yu roared. Following which, a powerful energy surged out from his body. Both of his hands formed hundreds of sword techniques. Waves of energy formed sword energies that attached themselves to the immortal sword. Either you die or I die. Hung Yu's eyes were red. He clasped his hands together, and the immortal sword in his hands turned into a thunderbolt and arrived in front of Qin Yu. Wherever the immortal sword passed, the elemental spirit energy was completely split apart, forming a special area. Qin Yu's figure moved. His body turned into a sword energy and fiercely collided with the immortal sword. The immortal sword exploded, and the sword energy scattered in all directions. Qin Yu couldn't help but retreat a few hundred meters. However, in the blink of an eye, he rushed towards Hung Yu at an even faster speed. His right hand pierced towards Hung Yu's abdomen. The sound of flesh being pierced rang out. Qin Yu's right hand pierced through Hung Yu's abdomen and directly grabbed onto the Yuanying. The energy of the Yuanying of a sword immortal was extremely sharp and condensed. The moment he grabbed onto the Yuanying, a terrifying explosion came from Qin Yu's palm. At the same time, a voice rang out in Qin Yu's mind. My final move is actually self-destruction. I don't believe that you won't die when a level 9 golden immortal self-destructs next to you. Rumble. The earth quakes and the terrifying sound of the explosion reverberates unceasingly between heaven and earth. The energy emitted by the explosion of the Yuanying of a level 9 golden immortal eclipses the sun in an instant. Qin Yu is sent flying away powerlessly. So numb. Qin Yu felt that his right hand had completely lost all feeling. The intense explosion caused Qin Yu's soul to tremble. His entire body was in a state of dizziness. About 10 breaths of time later, Qin Yu, who was in free fall, suddenly flipped over and stood in the air. How did Uncle Lon refine this sword immortal puppet body? It didn't even suffer from such a violent explosion. Qin Yu had already regained his consciousness. He was shocked to find that the body did not suffer any damage. The numbness in his hand was only due to the terrifying explosion in his palm. No matter what, this Hung Yu is dead. Qin Yu spread out his immortal sense. Whether it was Hung Yu's spatial ring, or the other items left behind by the four golden immortals, none of the Lu, Yin and Wang clan dared to take them. They were afraid of offending Qin Yu. They were afraid that Qin Yu would exterminate their clans in a fit of rage. Qin Yu took Huan Yu's spatial ring and other items. Then he took the items of the other four golden immortals, including Yu Dian and Lu Chao. It's a pity that Hung Yu's Yuanying was a level 9 golden immortal's Yuanying. Qin Yu's mood was very relaxed. No matter what, the harvest is not bad. 3 level 8 golden immortals Yuanying, and 1 level 7 Yuanying. In the future, I will have enough energy to break through to the black hole stage. Hung Yu self-destructed, but the other 4 didn't have time to do so. As he was collecting the items left behind by the 4 golden immortals, Qin Yu's face slightly changed when he saw Lu Chao. This was because in the left hand of Lu Chao's dead body, there was a transmission spirit bead. This person's strength was the weakest, but his reaction was fast. Qin Yu felt that he was in big trouble. But Qin Yu didn't care. First of all, his identity was fake, and second, he would soon have the strength to not fear the Jade Sword School. Yin clan, Lu clan, Wang clan. Qin Yu mumbles, while looking at the crowd of onlookers not far from him. He deliberately let others hear what he said. The faces of the Yin clan, Lu clan, and Wang clan turned pale. This fiend who could easily kill level 7 or 8 golden immortals, if he wanted to exterminate their clans, wouldn't it be as easy as flipping his hand? Humph humph. Qin Yu sneered. Soon after, he disappeared. These snorts caused the hearts of the 3 great clans of Amber Moon to tremble. They unanimously decided that no matter what, they could not offend Qin Yu's sect elders. At the same time, they could not offend the Jade Sword School. Small powers are sad. They can't afford to offend anyone. Times on Amber Moon, thousands of meters below a barren mountain, there was a grain of sand. That grain of sand was the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Within the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, Qin Yu had already returned to his body. Within the Qingyu Immortal Mansion, there was a special cultivation palace. Qin Yu sat cross-legged on a jade bed. A level 1 golden immortal Yuanying floated in front of Qin Yu. It opened its mouth and a blue flame shot out. After reaching the middle stage of Dark Star, Qin Yu's true star flame changed from the purple heavenly flame of the star stage to blue heavenly flame. The blue heavenly flame wrapped around the Yuanying. This Yuanying was the Yuanying of the immortal realm emissary Hua Yan. Under the blue heavenly flame, the Yuanying melted into a golden liquid. Qin Yu opened his mouth and sucked. As if drinking water, the golden liquid flew into Qin Yu's mouth. Then Qin Yu closed his mouth. He closed his eyes and sat cross-legged in the air without moving. Within Qin Yu's Dantian space, the golden liquid formed a whirlpool and was continuously swallowed by the dark red bead. Gradually, the dark red bead's volume increased at an imperceptible speed. Its color also became darker. Still not enough. Qin Yu did not feel any breakthrough. Another Yuanying flew into Qin Yu's body. That Yuanying was the Yuanying of the Devil Realm emissary, Du Zhongjun. Under the blue heavenly flame, it also turned into a golden red liquid. Xiao. Opening his mouth and sucking, Qin Yu swallowed the golden red liquid that contained an astonishing amount of energy. The dark red bead within Qin Yu's Dantian was now twice as big as before. Its color was also much darker. When the energy of the second Yuanying poured in, the absorption speed of the dark star became even faster. A whirlpool, a wave of swallowing. The Yuanying of a level 1 Devil King was swallowed up. Now the dark star's volume had increased by a lot. Its color was even darker, almost pitch black. Crackle. Qin Yu felt that his dark star had actually started to slowly change. Qin Yu was overjoyed. In order to hasten this change, Qin Yu took out the third Yuanying. This Yuanying was the Yuanying of the dragon emissary Ao Feng. Just like that, the golden liquid of the Yuanying was also swallowed up by Qin Yu. The dark star's volume slowly increased again. At the same time, the interior of the dark star underwent a rapid change. The energy of more than 3 level 1 golden immortals was undergoing an astonishing change within the small dark star. I can't swallow anymore. Qin Yu felt that the enormous change in energy was causing his soul to show signs of losing control. Immediately, Qin Yu did not dare to swallow any more yuanying. Pooh, his dantian shook. The dark star's volume suddenly shrunk by more than 10 times. Its color instantly turned completely pitch black, like a black pearl. After a long time, Qin Yu quietly opened his eyes. On his face, there was a trace of a faint smile. He knew that he had finally reached the late stage of dark star. With my current strength, I should be able to open the second layer of the atlas, right? Qin Yu was full of confidence. Compared to the middle stage of dark star, his current strength had increased by at least 10 times. Opening the second layer of the atlas would not be difficult. How many demon kings and spirit beasts are there in the second layer of the atlas? How many level 9 demon kings are there? Qin Yu's heart was filled with excitement. He even imagined the scene of dozens of level 9 demon kings listening to his orders. Qin Yu could not suppress his excitement. With a flip of his hand, he took out the atlas and immediately opened the second layer of the atlas. Chapter 328. What Qin Yu was looking forward to the most was the level 9 demon kings in the second layer of the atlas of 10,000 beasts. If he had several dozen level 9 demon kings by his side, then even a level 1 or 2 immortal emperor would not be able to withstand the attacks of so many level 9 demon kings. Qin Yu held the golden scroll in his hand. Streams of condensed dark star energy poured into the golden scroll. To open the second layer of the atlas, one needed the strength of a golden immortal. And Qin Yu, who had reached the late dark star stage, was estimated to be as strong as a grade 2 or 3 golden immortal. Late dark star stage. The golden scroll trembled, and immediately a misty light emerged from the surface of the golden scroll. Qin Yu's face was flushed with excitement. He knew he had succeeded. The moment he opened the second layer of the atlas, the information about the second layer of the atlas directly poured into Qin Yu's mind. Inside the second layer of the atlas, one by one, the humanoid spiritual beasts were either cultivating or chatting with each other. However, the moment Qin Yu opened the second layer of the atlas, the hearts of all the spiritual beasts in the second layer of the atlas trembled. All the spirit beasts couldn't help but look up. Level 9 Demon Kings 28. Qin Yu felt his heartbeat quicken. Heavens, 28 level 9 Demon Kings. If he had opened the second layer of the atlas earlier, would he have needed to enter the sword immortal puppet to attack those 5 golden immortals? He could have just sent out 5 or 6 Demon Kings to kill those enemies. There are 28 level 9 Demon Kings, more than 100 level 8 Demon Kings, and more than 300 level 7 Demon Kings. Qin Yu felt his whole body was filled with energy. This was the feeling of having enough strength and confidence. Who is the leader of the second layer of the atlas? Qin Yu thought. Qin Yu's question resounded in the hearts of all the spirit beasts in the second layer of the atlas. Then, a tall and thin man took the lead, followed by a golden-robed man and a white-robed woman. The 3 of them flew in the air and bowed. Master, this subordinate is Kong Lan. I am the head of the atlas of 10,000 beasts. Tu Gang and Tan Meng are my assistants. The male expert's voice sounded in Qin Yu's ears. Qin Yu's heart stirred. Kong Lan, Tu Gang, and Tan Meng simultaneously appeared in front of Qin Yu's jade bed. Greetings, Master. Kong Lan, Tu Gang and Tan Meng bowed. Qin Yu nodded and said, All right, since I've opened the second layer of the atlas, I'm naturally very familiar with your strength. I've observed 28 ninth grade Demon King spirit beasts. But Kong Lan, you are the only mid-level divine beast, right? Yes, Master. Kong Lan replied. Qin Yu carefully observed the 28 level 9 Demon Kings. Among the 28 level 9 Demon Kings, a small portion of them were ordinary demon beasts, while the rest were divine beasts. However, among these 20 mythological beasts, only Kong Lan was a mid-level mythological beast, while the rest were only low-level mythological beasts. Kong Lan was able to become the leader of the level 9 Demon Kings, so it was easy for him to understand. Master, Big Brother Kong Lan is not only the only mid-level demonic beast among the 28 level 9 demon kings, he is also the one with the fastest cultivation speed among the more than 1,000 people who ascended from the first layer of the Atlas to the second layer. The only female among the three, Tan Meng said with a smile, while looking at Kong Lan with a smile. Qin Yu heard this and understood one thing. After the death of Immortal Emperor in Aiyang, more than 1,000 spirit beasts from the first layer of the Atlas ascended to the second layer. Who would have thought that among so many people who ascended, there was actually a level 9 demon king Kong Lan? Kong Lan, your cultivation speed is so fast, Qin Yu exclaimed. Kong Lan humbly said, Master, it's just luck. A mythological beast's level represents a mythological beast's talent. As a mid-level mythological beast, it took me nearly 100,000 years to cultivate from a level 8 demon king to a level 9 demon king. It's not worth bragging about. The death of Immortal Emperor in Aiyang was indeed close to 100,000 years ago. You don't have to say any more. In the first layer of the Atlas, aren't there spirit beasts that have been in the level 7 demon realm for 100,000 years? Qin Yu said with a smile. Kong Lan immediately said, those people don't want to improve themselves. They think that the lower their cultivation, the less opportunities the master will have to use them. So they don't spend any time on cultivation. Naturally, their cultivation speed is slow. Oh, Qin Yu heard this for the first time. The lower their cultivation, the less opportunities the master will have to use them. Because of this, they don't cultivate. Big Brother Kong Lan is right. There are indeed many spirit beasts that have such thoughts. But even more spirit beasts don't want to stay in the Atlas for the rest of their lives. They also want to explore the outside world. The higher their cultivation, the more opportunities the master will have to use them. Therefore, more spirit beasts cultivate diligently. Tan Meng explained. Qin Yu smiled slightly. Fortunately, if all the spirit beasts cultivate diligently, the spirit beasts in the first layer of the Atlas can ascend to the second layer. Then when I opened the first layer of the Atlas, there were no spirit beasts to use, right? Qin Yu said with a smile. Kong Lan, Tu Gang, and Tan Meng all laughed. Kong Lan, do you know how many spirit beasts have ascended from the second layer of the Atlas to the first layer over the years? Qin Yu asked. Kong Lan pondered and said, Master, this news is from other senior spirit beasts. The difference between level 9 Demon King and level 1 Demon Emperor is a watershed. The difficulty of breaking through is very high. To reach level 1 Demon Emperor and ascend to the third layer of the Atlas, the difficulty is beyond imagination. In the past 100,000 years, only one person has succeeded in ascending. One person. Qin Yu felt the difficulty of breaking through. Master, in the Atlas of 10,000 beasts, there are dozens of level 9 demon kings. It's already very good for one of them to break through and ascend to the third layer of the Atlas. Under normal circumstances, only 1 out of 100 level 9 demon kings can become a level 1 demon emperor. Kong Lan, if you were to deal with a level 1 demon emperor, would you be confident? Qin Yu suddenly asked. Kong Lan shook his head and said, no. Qin Yu was startled. In his opinion, Kong Lan was a level 9 demon king. A level 9 demon king. It shouldn't be difficult to deal with a level 1 demon emperor. A level 1 demon emperor is not possible, but a level 1 immortal emperor is possible. Kong Lan continued, a level 1 immortal emperor and a level 1 demon emperor. Isn't their strength about the same? But in just a moment, Qin Yu thought of the answer. Kong Lan also said the answer. Master, to be able to reach the demon emperor realm, most of them are god beasts. Because god beasts have good talent, the possibility of breaking through is higher. To deal with a level 1 demon emperor, I don't have the confidence. Against a level 1 immortal emperor, I have 50% confidence. Kong Lan said carefully, if that level 1 immortal emperor's equipment and weapons are not good, I might be able to defeat him. But if he has a top-grade defensive immortal equipment, or a top-grade immortal sword, I probably won't be able to win. Because my weapon is very bad, Kong Lan said helplessly. Hearing this, Qin Yu was startled. Immediately, Qin Yu carefully checked the weapons on Kong Lan's body, as well as the weapons of the other spirit beasts in the second layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. This check gave Qinyu a big shock. The only good thing on Konglan's body was a high-grade immortal equipment. But in the entire second layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, the best weapon was only a high-grade immortal equipment. There wasn't even a single top-grade immortal equipment. When Master Anai Yang obtained the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, his cultivation had already reached the immortal Emperor realm. When he captured us as spirit beasts, he only did it to make the first and second layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas spacious. He was too lazy to use it on us. He usually used the Demon Emperor level spirit beasts in the third layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. Dan Meng said carefully. Qinyu looked at Dan Meng. Dan Meng had been a level 9 Demon King for a very long time. She knew a lot of things. If he didn't use the spirit beasts in the second layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, of course he wouldn't give him any good weapons. It's just that Immortal Emperor Anai Yang was too rich. He casually threw a lot of high-grade and middle-grade immortal equipment in the second layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. In the first layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, there were also some middle-grade and low-grade immortal equipment. Dan Meng sighed and said, "According to my estimation, in the third layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, the Demon Emperor's weapons are definitely the best. That Immortal Emperor Anai Yang would also think of ways to get good weapons for those Demon Emperors, good defensive treasures." Qinyu smiled. What a joke. Good weapons were not given to the strong, but to the weak. He could completely understand Immortal Emperor Anai Yang's thoughts at that time. After all, Immortal Emperor Anai Yang was already an Immortal Emperor level sword immortal. The spirit beasts in the first and second layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas would not help him at all. Immortal Emperor Anai Yang only caught those spirit beasts for show. The Demon Emperor level spirit beasts in the third layer were the real helpers. The third layer, I'm really looking forward to it. Qinyu could not help but be filled with anticipation for the third layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas. Because he could imagine, in the third layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, the powerful Demon Emperor level spirit beasts would definitely have extremely good weapons, at least top-grade immortal equipment. Maybe there might even be immortal equipment. But Qinyu understood one thing. In order to open the third layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, one would need at least the strength of a level 1 immortal emperor. He was still very far from that level. What's the rush? Everything has to be done step by step. Now that I have more than 1,800 Demon Emperor level spirit beasts in this indigo-based star field, I can be considered a relatively strong force. Qinyu thought in his heart. In Qinyu's opinion, the strength of his troops should not be much different from the Jade Sword School that controlled the Silver Stream Galaxy. After all, the Jade Sword School's sect master was only a level 1 mystic immortal, although that person was a sword immortal. Kong Lan, in the second layer of the 10,000 Beasts Atlas, you are the strongest. I will now bestow you a set of top-grade immortal equipment and a top-grade immortal equipment. Qinyu waved his sleeve and took out a set of top-grade immortal equipment from the blazing profound ring. One for defense, one for attack, both were top-grade immortal equipment. Kong Lan's whole body trembled, but he immediately sobered up, knelt down and said gratefully, "Thank you, Master." Dan Meng, Tu Gang, the two of you possess strength second only to Kong Lan. For the time being, I shall bestow upon the two of you a top-quality attack immortal artifact. In the future, if the two of you were to accomplish great merits, I will reward you even more," said Qinyu with a light smile. This made Dan Meng and Tu Gang very happy. The first time they met their master, he got a top-grade immortal equipment. It seems that the current master was much better than the previous one. Then Dan Meng and Tu Gang each asked for a top-grade immortal equipment that was suitable for them. The three of you are after all divine beasts. Now that you have weapons, do you have confidence in dealing with an ordinary level 1 mystic immortal? Qinyu asked with a smile. Level 1 mystic immortal? This subordinate has full confidence. Kong Lan said confidently. With a top-grade immortal equipment for defense and a top-grade immortal equipment for attack, Kong Lan's strength had at least doubled. It was not difficult to deal with a level 1 mystic immortal. This subordinate also feels the same, Dan Meng and Tu Gang also said. Then what about a level 1 mystic immortal sword immortal? Qin Yu asked again. An ordinary level 1 mystic immortal and a level 1 mystic immortal sword immortal were two different concepts. Sword immortals were known as the immortals with the highest attack power. Kong Lan, Dan Meng, and Tu Gang's expression stiffened. They were stunned speechless. Asking them to deal with a level 1 mystic immortal sword immortal, they did not have any confidence. Qin Yu smiled faintly. Now he more or less knew the strength of his level 9 demon kings. Kong Lan, the three of you should first refine the top quality immortal artifacts that I have bestowed upon you all in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. After you've finished refining them, I will bring you all out, said Qin Yu while smiling. Bring them out. Kong Lan and the other two's eyes lit up. They had been stuck in the Atlas for a long time. Go to the palace next door to train, Qin Yu said. Yes, master. Kong Lan and the other two immediately left Qin Yu's palace. Standing next to the spring, Qin Yu stared at the spring without moving. It looked like Qin Yu was admiring the spring water, but in reality, Qin Yu's mind was not on the spring water, but on his brothers and his lover. Reaching the late dark star stage, the second layer of the Atlas has opened. In this dangerous immortal devil and demon realm, I can be considered to have the strength to protect myself. My journey is about to begin. Qin Yu already had the thought of leaving the Amber Moon Star. 3 days later, Kong Lan and the other two had already completely refined the top-quality immortal artifacts that Qin Yu had given them. They were already able to completely unleash the power of the weapons. Only at this moment did Qin Yu decide to leave the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. Times after Qin Yu killed the 5 golden immortals, he directly entered the Qingyu Immortal Mansion and refined the Yuanying to increase his power and open the second layer of the Atlas. The 3 great clans of the Amber Moon Star were in a state of panic. 5 golden immortals, a second-generation disciple of the Jade Sword School, Yu Dian, and 4 third-generation disciples. Moreover, this second-generation disciple Yu Dian was not an ordinary person. He was someone who received the appreciation of Emperor Yu. His influence in the Jade Sword School was second only to the schoolmaster Yu Qingzi. At the same time, the news of Yu Dian's death also shook the Jade Sword School far away in the Red Leaf Star. Chapter 329. Jade Sword School's Main Hall. 5 second-generation disciples were gathered here. Their faces showed signs of irritation. After sitting for a while, they began to pace back and forth in the hall. It was obvious that they were unable to calm down. Jade Sword School's second-generation disciples had a lot of power. 4 or 5 of the 8 second-generation disciples to gather here was obviously a big event. Senior apprentice brother. Now that junior apprentice brother Yu Dian is dead, and master is refining pills with senior Qian Qi in the alchemy room, what should we do? One of the 5, a yellow-robed middle-aged man spoke out. This person was the third brother of the Jade Sword School's 8 disciples. Third brother, what can I do if you ask me? The handsome youth shook his head. Speaking of this matter, my disciple Huan Yu was also killed. I have no place to vent my anger. In the hall, the 5 disciples were helpless. If it was another disciple that died, they would be worried for a while, and then seek revenge. But they would not be as worried as they were now. Yu Dian's death not only caused the 5 closest disciples to gather together, but also the other 2 who were outside were on their way back. This was the reason for Yu Dian's status. After all, Yu Dian was now someone that Emperor Yu valued. If his death angered Emperor Yu, then the entire Jade Sword School would be implicated. We can only wait for Master and Senior Qian Qi to finish refining the pills. The middle-aged man who had been sitting in the corner said, Senior Qian Qi, even Master does not dare to offend him. The importance of refining the pills is needless to say. During the refining process, there is no room for distraction. If we send a message to Master and distract him, then the refining process will fail. If Senior Qian Qi is angry, then the consequences are not something we can bear. The other 4 smiled bitterly. What can the 4 of them do? Before martial nephew Lu Chao died, he said very clearly that the enemy was able to withstand the strongest attack of the 5 elements chainsword formation by himself. The enemy's strength is definitely not below Master's. Even if the 5 of us join forces, we will still die. The senior brother sighed and shook his head. Thinking of the message Lu Chao sent before he died, the 5 of them felt helpless. A level 9 golden immortal, 3 level 8 golden immortals, and a level 7 golden immortal executed the final move of the 5 elements chainsword formation. The 5 people in the hall could guess how powerful it was. Taking this move head-on, one could imagine his strength. Unless we gather all the level 9 golden immortal experts of the Jade Sword School, or even all the experts sent by His Majesty Emperor Yu to the Silver Stream Galaxy, only then will we have the confidence to kill the enemy. The middle-aged man sitting in the corner said slowly. The other 4 remained silent. Gather all the experts of the sect. Gather all the experts that His Majesty Emperor Yu left in the Silver Stream Galaxy? They didn't have the right to do so. Everything had to wait for their master Yu Qingzi. After all, Yu Qingzi was the person sent by Emperor Yu to manage the entire Silver Stream Galaxy. Even if Master were to make a move, I'm afraid that he would have to kill his opponent at all costs. In the end, he would still suffer heavy losses. Eldest senior brother shook his head and said. The middle-aged man sitting in the corner suddenly said, if Senior Qian Qi is willing to help, then it won't be difficult to deal with the enemy. Hearing this, the eyes of the other 4 people in the hall lit up. Immortal Emperor Qian Qi was known as the leader of the 36 rulers under Emperor Yu. His strength far exceeded Yu Qingzi's. Times Maple Moon Planet, Lu Feng City. The Lu clan's grand elder, Lu Minghan, had a manor. It was extremely secluded and quiet. Usually, Lu Minghan rarely stayed here. But recently, Lu Minghan had decided to stay here. A small clan mixed in the struggle between great powers, is like sitting on a wooden boat in the middle of a stormy sea. At any time, the boat will capsize and the people will perish. Lu Minghan sighed in his heart. These days, Lu Minghan was worried to death about the battle between the Jade Sword School and Qin Yu's sect elders. But deep in his heart, there was a trace of ambition. Lu Minghan knew that if things continued to develop normally, the Lu clan would most likely hole up in the small Maple Moon Planet. But this time, if luck was on his side, and he could obtain the support of either the Jade Sword School or Qin Yu, then his Lu clan would grow by leaps and bounds. Mr. Lu. A dull voice suddenly sounded in the manor. Lu Minghan's whole body trembled. Naturally, he was familiar with this voice. It was the voice of the Lu clan's guest elder Qin Yu. Since Mr. Qin is here, why don't you come out and have a cup of tea? Minghan said with a smile. As he spoke, he carefully observed his surroundings, even the sky above. He saw. Qin Yu was in the lead. Kong Lan was slightly behind him. Tu Gang and Dan Meng were behind Qin Yu. One on the left and one on the right of Qin Yu. Only when these 4 people entered the manor, did Lu Minghan notice them. When Lu Minghan saw Kong Lan, Tu Gang, and Dan Meng, his pupil shrank. This Qin Yu has a new servant. This time, even I can't see through his strength. Lu Minghan was shocked. When he first met Qin Yu's servants, Shua Yen and Zhang Yuan, Lu Minghan could see through their strength. Mr. Qin, you are really fine. This is great. Not long ago, 5 golden immortals attacked the bamboo garden. I was worried for a long time. Fortunately, I am able to see Mr. Qin. Lu Minghan said with a smile. Come, Mr. Qin, please take a seat. Lu Minghan and Qin Yu sat opposite each other. Qin Yu's face always had a faint smile. He was not anxious at all. Mr. Qin, these people. Lu Minghan looked at the 3 people behind Qin Yu. Mr. Lu, 5 golden immortals besieged the bamboo garden. If not for my martial uncle's help, I would have lost my life. My family was very worried about my safety, so they sent 3 experts to protect me. Qin Yu casually said. The secret of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts could not be leaked. If the secret of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts was leaked, Emperor Yu, Emperor Xian, and other immortal demon and demon emperors would come after him. After all, the 3rd layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts was a demon emperor spirit beast. Even immortal Emperor Yang valued it greatly. One could imagine the strength of the third layer's demon emperor spirit beast. May I ask where Mr. Qin's family is? Lu Minghan asked. Lu Minghan's curiosity was piqued. Qin Yu frowned and coldly looked at Lu Minghan. Mr. Lu, don't you think you're asking too much? Lu Minghan's heart trembled, and he quickly said, Mr. Qin, I was reckless. Qin Yu smiled and said, Mr. Lu, I will let you know what you need to know. What you don't need to know, you don't need to ask. Yes, yes. Lu Minghan nodded repeatedly. Now Lu Minghan could feel a very special aura emanating from Qin Yu's body. This aura made Lu Minghan's heart tremble. What Lu Minghan didn't know was that this was the aura of Qin Yu's soul after fusing with Lu Xing's tear. Mr. Qin, in about half a month's time, our Maple Moon's 3 great clans will compete for the right to control the planet's teleportation array. When the time comes, Mr. Qin, if you have the time, please come and take a look. I will go when I have time. Qin Yu nodded. Mr. Lu, the bamboo garden was given to me by you, but I didn't protect it well. I'm sorry if the enemy destroyed it. Qin Yu apologized, but Lu Minghan smiled and said, How can you blame Mr. Qin? My Lu family has a residence in the eastern district called the White Garden. A few days ago, I ordered people to clean it up and wait for Mr. Qin's return. In that case, many thanks. Qin Yu did not refuse. Qin Yu stood up and said, Mr. Lu, I'll take my leave. My immortal sense has already found the White Garden. I don't need anyone to guide me. With that, Qin Yu left with Kong Lan and the other 2. When Qin Yu reached the courtyard, he suddenly turned and said, Mr. Lu, when you see my disciple Han Shu, tell him to go to the White Garden. Okay, I'll immediately send someone to see Mr. Qin. Lu Minghan smiled. Qin Yu smiled and left with his people. Times for a self-cultivator. Building a courtyard wasn't a difficult task. But the layout of the White Garden, and the variety of rare herbs and plants, made Qin Yu very surprised. Obviously, Lu Minghan had spent a lot of effort to make Qin Yu happy. Qin Yu sat in the main hall, waiting for his disciple Han Shu. After a while, Han Shu rushed into the hall and knelt down. Disciple greets master. After experiencing Qin Yu's teachings, Han Shu was suddenly awakened from his stupor and began to meditate bitterly. He had enough elemental spirit stones to cultivate, and his meridians had been transformed by Qin Yu's life force. Han Shu's cultivation speed had reached a terrifying level. In just 10 years, Han Shu had cultivated from the early stage of Yuanying to the middle stage of Kongming. Qin Yu's gaze fell on Han Shu's body. After a moment of careful observation, a smile appeared on his face. It seems that you've been cultivating diligently for the past 10 years. Let me ask you, among your peers, who has the highest cultivation? Among my peers, the highest is the middle stage of Kongming. One is me, and the other is Lu Hanming, whom master had taught a lesson. There was a trace of pride in Han Shu's voice. But in another 10 years, disciple will surpass all my peers. Lu Hanming, I still have some impression of him. Qin Yu recalled the scheming young man. 10 years ago, Lu Hanming was already at the late stage of Dongxiu. 10 years to reach the middle stage of Dongxiu. His speed is not bad. Master, disciple hasn't seen master for 10 years, and I miss master very much. Han Shu suddenly said. Qin Yu was startled. He suddenly remembered that as a master, he hadn't seen his disciple in 10 years, and he hadn't taught him anything. He really wasn't a qualified master. Afterwards, the master and disciple chatted for a long time. Qin Yu also answered many of the questions that Han Shu encountered during his training. At night, Qin Yu was the only one in the room. Qin Yu was currently looking through the storage rings of the 5 golden immortals. When he killed the 5 golden immortals, Qin Yu didn't have time to carefully look through them. TSK. No wonder so many experts in the immortal, devil and demon realms like to rob and kill others. This robbery is equivalent to robbing others of their wealth. Qin Yu couldn't help but sigh as he looked through the storage rings. Cultivators did not have a fixed residence. Most of their treasures were hidden in their spatial rings. Under normal circumstances, the higher one's cultivation was, the more powerful one was, the more treasures they would have. Lu Chao, Heng Yu, Heng Feng and Feng Lian were all third-generation disciples. Their status in the Jade Sword School was very high. Their wealth was less than Yan Gao's. After all, Yan Gao still had part of his family's wealth. The total wealth of the four added together was about 500 or 600 million. According to the name list in Lu Chao's storage ring, this Yu Dian is a second-generation disciple. Moreover, he is in charge of wealth. Qing Yu was looking forward to Yu Dian's storage ring. Among the five of them, his status was the highest. Moreover, he was in charge of wealth. How many treasures were there in his storage ring? Qing Yu took a look. Gasp! Qing Yu sucked in a breath of cold air. More than I expected. The amount of wealth in Yu Dian's storage ring really shocked Qing Yu. Without looking at the strange treasures, Qing Yu found that the value of a single unit of spirit stone was more than 1 billion. What Qing Yu didn't know was that Yu Dian had already handed over the management of the Jade Sword School to the receptionist. The wealth of the Jade Sword School was also handed over to the receptionist. After all, Yu Dian was preparing to go to Emperor Yu. Even so, Yu Dian's wealth was still astonishing. Qing Yu carefully looked at the other treasures in Yu Dian's storage ring. Suddenly, he found an item called Jade Slip. Qing Yu directly took out the Jade Slip and scanned it with his immortal sense. A map, an interstellar map. What did Qing Yu want the most? What he wanted the most was an interstellar map. Originally, he obtained a map of the Indigo Bay star field from the Lu family. But this map was actually an interstellar map of the immortal realm. Look at the lines and so on. Although this interstellar map of the immortal realm is not very detailed, but at least it shows the main routes. With this map, I don't have to worry about getting lost in the immortal realm. Qing Yu's eyes lit up. The treasures of these 5 people added together are not as precious as the treasures of the 3 emissaries I killed in the mortal realm. But to me those treasures are just numbers. The treasures of these 5 people added together are not as valuable as this map. Qing Yu's face was full of smiles. This interstellar map of the immortal realm is a sudden surprise. In fact, this map of the immortal realm was given to him by Emperor Yu of the Indigo Fire Star. Knowing that Yu Dian's future was limitless, he directly gave him this map. Who would have thought that this map would eventually fall into the hands of Qing Yu? Times Red Leaf Star Jade Sword School. GA. The stone door of the alchemy room slowly opened. With a face full of joy, Yu Qingzi and another middle-aged man walked out of the alchemy room. Outside the alchemy room were the disciples of the Jade Sword School, who were about to go crazy from anxiety. Master, this is not good. The eldest senior brother of the second-generation disciples was the first to shout. Yu Qingzi, who was still immersed in the joy of the success of the alchemy, found that all 7 of his disciples were gathered here. He knew that his disciples were not in Red Leaf Star. What happened that made all 7 of them gather here? Looking at the faces of his disciples, Yu Qingzi's heart sank. What the hell happened? Where is Yu Dian's disciple? Why is he not here? Yu Qingzi shouted. Chapter 330. Yu Qingzi had a very bad premonition. Seeing the expressions of the disciples, he became even more worried. In the face of Yu Qingzi's question, the second-generation disciples hesitated for a while, not knowing what to say. Involuntarily, they all looked towards their eldest senior brother. Eldest senior brother was also helpless. It seems that in the end, he still had to speak. Master, junior brother Yu Dian was killed. Eldest senior brother said in a sorrowful voice. Killed? You said Yu Dian's disciple was killed? Yu Qingzi's whole body trembled. To have a disciple like Yu Dian, Yu Qingzi was very proud, especially when his disciple was recognized by Emperor Yu. After all, among Emperor Yu's 36 rulers, Yu Qingzi was the lowest. Only by teaching such a good disciple could he be proud. This time, immortal Emperor Qianqi came to specially praise Yu Dian. Yu Qingzi, martial nephew Yu Dian was killed? Immortal Emperor Qianqi asked. Yu Qingzi nodded, then took a deep breath to suppress the anger in his heart. He looked at his disciple and said, What exactly happened? Tell me in detail. Disciple Fan Lan, you are the eldest senior brother, you tell me. Yu Qingzi looked at Fan Lan, and Immortal Emperor Qianqi also looked at Fan Lan. Fan Lan carefully recalled the incident, and then replied, Master Senior Qianqi, the reason why junior brother Yu Dian was killed, this matter has to be related to an incident 10 years ago. 10 years ago? Yu Qingzi frowned. How is it related to something that happened 10 years ago? Immortal Emperor Qianqi said. Yu Qingzi, if I remember correctly, 10 years ago Yu Dian was sent to be in charge of Emperor Yu's affairs. Fan Lan nodded. Yes, 10 years ago junior brother Yu Dian was sent to be in charge of Emperor Yu's affairs. But also 10 years ago, junior brother Yu Dian's very important disciple, Yan Gao, was killed. Martial nephew Yan Gao's aptitude was average, but his talent in business was very high. He was very similar to junior brother Yu Dian, so junior brother Yu Dian always liked this disciple. 10 years ago, junior brother Yu Dian was ready to arrange for martial nephew Yan Gao to take over his position. Who would have thought that at that time, junior brother Yan Gao would be killed? But at that time, junior brother Yu Dian had the important matter of Emperor Yu on his shoulders. Naturally, he didn't dare to be negligent, so he endured and didn't seek revenge. Yu Qingzi and Immortal Emperor Qianqi both nodded to themselves. This Yu Dian clearly knew the severity of the situation. 10 years later, junior apprentice brother Yu Dian successfully returned and was warmly welcomed by our master. Fan Lan continued. But junior apprentice brother Yu Dian's heart was filled with the desire to avenge his disciple. Not long after the banquet ended, junior brother Yu Dian set off with the 4 third-generation disciples. Yu Qingzi suddenly said, How is the power of the 4 third-generation disciples? Yu Qingzi clearly wanted to figure out the strength of the people on his side. Fan Lan continued, Master, among the 4 third-generation disciples, one of them is my disciple, and has reached level 9 Golden Immortal. The other 3 are junior brother Yu Dian, 2 level 8 Golden Immortals, and 1 level 7 Golden Immortal. Yu Qingzi couldn't help but murmur. Five of them are experts in the 5 elements chainsword formation. Master, junior apprentice brother Yu Dian, and the other 4 went to Amber Moon, and used the 5 elements chainsword formation to deal with the enemy. But in the end, junior apprentice brother Yu Dian and the others still died, and not a single one survived. Only Lu Chao sent a message before he died. Fan Lan's voice contained deep pain. Yu Qingzi, as the master of a sect, wasn't someone who would easily become hot-headed. After a moment of thought he asked, What is the strength of the enemy? Did Lu Chao's message say? Master, there is one thing I must clarify. Fan Lan suddenly remembered something. Lu Chao didn't say the exact strength of the enemy, but he did say that the enemy was an elder of the sect called Qinyu. He was able to withstand the strongest attack of the 5 elements chainsword formation. When Yu Dian and the other 4 were fighting Qinyu claimed to be an elder of Qinyu's sect, and once said that he wasn't an immortal emperor. But Lu Chao saw that Qinyu was able to withstand the attack, and naturally didn't believe Qinyu's words. So when he sent the message, he didn't pass on the information that Qinyu had previously said. Forcefully resisting the strongest attack of Yu Dian's disciples' 5 elements chainsword formation, Yu Qing's expression changed. Immortal Lord Qianqi slowly said, 1 level 9 Golden Immortal, 3 level 8 Golden Immortal, and 1 level 7 Golden Immortal. Even with the accumulation of their strength, their attack power is still extremely shocking. Not to mention the amplification of the formation, and also the strongest attack. I'm afraid even Yu Qingzi wouldn't dare to take it head-on. Yu Qingzi nodded. Brother Qianqi is right. If I were to take the combined attack of the 5 of them, even if I didn't die, I would be seriously injured. So the enemy's strength is at least not inferior to yours. Immortal Lord Qianqi frowned. Yu Qingzi also nodded, and then suddenly shouted to Fan Lan. What kind of planet is Amber Moon? How can there be such powerful experts? Yu Qingzi already regarded the enemy as an immortal emperor. In fact, at that time Qinyu relied on the sword Immortal Puppet's indestructible body to withstand the attack. Even if a level 9 Golden Immortal's Yuanying exploded in the palm of his hand, the sword Immortal Puppet's body was not damaged in the slightest. From this, one can judge how monstrous the sword immortal puppet's body is. This point also caused Yu Qingzi and immortal Lord Qianqi to make a mistake. Amber Moon is only an ordinary planet, and there are only a few golden immortals. On this planet, there are 3 great clans. The Qin disciple spoke of as a guest of the Lu clan, and the one who killed junior brother Qin Yu and the others is the senior from the sect. Fanlong carefully explained. Yu Qingzi pondered for a moment. Well, you guys go out first. I have something to discuss with brother Qianqi. Yu Qingzi suddenly ordered his disciples. Immediately, the 7 disciples bowed together and said, "Yes, master." Under Fanlan's lead, the 7 disciples left one by one, leaving only Yu Qingzi and immortal Lord Qianqi. Immortal Lord Qianqi looked at Yu Qingzi and smiled meaningfully. Yu Qingzi was embarrassed and said, "Brother Qianqi, this time the enemy is very strong. I want to deal with them alone. I want to, but I don't have the strength." Yu Qingzi was already shocked by the previous deduction. He had already determined that the enemy was an immortal emperor stronger than him. Immortal Lord Qianqi muttered, "Yu Qingzi, that person was able to let Lu Chao send a message. Presumably he did not kill everyone in one move. It seems that even if his strength is strong, it is not too strong." Yu Qingzi nodded. 1 level 9 golden immortal, 3 level 8 golden immortals, and 1 level 7 golden immortal. If immortal Lord Qianqi made a move, he could definitely kill all 5 of them in an instant. How could he let Lu Chao have the chance to send a message? But I am worried about one thing. That mysterious enemy is Qin Yu's sect elder. And this Qin Yu's sect elder, how many are there? Is this the strongest one? Immortal Lord Qianqi voiced his concern. Yu Qingzi's face also changed. Yes. Is this senior from Qin Yu's school, who has just appeared the strongest of them all? If not, what if there was an even more powerful immortal emperor, hiding in the dark? I hope brother Qianqi can point me out. Yu Qingzi hurriedly said to immortal Lord Qianqi. Immortal Lord Qianqi was the leader of the 36 rulers under Emperor Yu. To be able to become the leader of the 36 rulers, it was not only strength. She was also very experienced in thinking about problems and dealing with them. Immortal Lord Qianqi smiled and pointed to the north. Yu Qingzi, did you forget that person? You mean? Yu Qingzi's eyes lit up. His Majesty? Immortal Lord Qianqi slowly nodded and smiled. Smart, think about it. His Majesty is very concerned about Yu Dian, even to the point of making Yu Dian his close confidant. Now that Yu Dian has been killed, how could His Majesty remain indifferent? Brilliant. Yu Qingzi smiled. Immortal Lord Qianqi continued. What's more, it's hard to say how many enemies there are. If we are to act, we will naturally send 2 people. As the saying goes, strength in numbers. We will at least gather all the level 8 and level 9 golden immortals in the Silver Stream Galaxy, as well as His Majesty's subordinates who are close to the Silver Stream Galaxy. Such a big move would naturally need to be reported to His Majesty. Yu Qingzi's heart relaxed. Now that things have reached this point, let His Majesty Emperor Yu personally handle it. Even if it was handled badly, Emperor Yu would not blame Yu Qingzi. Brother Qianqi, please rest for a moment. I will go to the secret transmission array to inform His Majesty Emperor Yu. Yu Qingzi said. No need to be so polite, Yu Qingzi, you go first. Immortal Lord Qianqi smiled. Then Yu Qingzi walked towards the secret transmission array. The immortal devil and demon realm is after all too big. Although the transmission ability of the communication spiritual pearl is wider than the transmission array, it can only cover the size of a star field. In order to cross several star fields, the only way is to enter the secret transmission array. In this secret transmission array, the transmission ability of the communication spiritual pearl will be greatly enhanced, allowing it to travel very far. Times clouds and mist filled the air. In the mist, there was a fluttering gauze. Inside the gauze, there were 2 people sitting cross-legged facing each other. Between them was a small table with 2 cups of tea. The 2 people sitting opposite each other. One was dressed in green, with a long sword on his back. It was the attire of a sword immortal. The other person was dressed in a purple robe, with long hair casually draped over his shoulders. Jibai, please wait for a moment, Yu Qingzi has sent a message. The purple-robed middle-aged man smiled. Your Majesty, please. The green-robed sword immortal nodded. The identity of these two people was astonishing. The purple-robed middle-aged man was the leader of one of the three great powers of the immortal realm. Emperor Yu. Emperor Yu had stood proudly in the immortal realm for countless years. There was no need to talk about his strength. Level 8 Mystic Immortal. Even in the immortal realm, there weren't many people who could compare to him. Although this green-robed sword immortal's status and strength were slightly weaker, many people were more afraid of this green-robed sword immortal. For Emperor Yu to have his current status, the green-robed sword immortal had contributed greatly. The green-robed sword immortal was known as Green-Blood Sword Immortal Emperor Jibai. He was the leader of the 18 immortal emperors under Emperor Yu. A level 7 Mystic Immortal Sword Immortal. Level 7 Mystic Immortal was only one level weaker than Emperor Yu. But this Green-Blood Sword Immortal was the immortal with the strongest attack power. Sword Immortal. When Immortal Emperor Yang was still alive, the Green-Blood Sword Immortal and Immortal Emperor Yang were existences at the peak of Sword Immortal. Some people even said that the reason why Immortal Emperor Yang was able to suppress Green-Blood Sword Immortal and become the #1 Sword Immortal was because Immortal Emperor Yang was a level 8 Mystic Immortal. Many people also said that if Green-Blood Sword Immortal was also a level 8 Mystic Immortal, his attack power would be stronger than Immortal Emperor Yang's. This point was not without reason. The only reason was that the sword technique of Green-Blood Sword Immortal was a killing sword technique. Of course, this was only a guess. After all, Green-Blood Sword Immortal was a level 7 Mystic Immortal. If he wanted to break through, this was not something that could be done with time alone. Qin Yu, the purple-robed emperor Yu put away the transmission spiritual pearl, his brows slightly wrinkled, and suddenly looked towards Green-Blood Sword Immortal Jibai and said, Jibai, do you remember the message that your disciple, Huayan, sent to us after he failed to enter Yang's realm from the mortal realm? At that time, when Huayan, Du Zhongjun, Ao Feng and the others failed to come out from Yang's realm, they had already used a secret method to send the message to their leader. I remember. Jibai slightly nodded. Emperor Yu raised his teacup and drank a mouthful, saying, when that Huayan told us the story, he mentioned a mysterious power. This power made me pay attention to three people. Qin Yu's martial uncle Lan Feng, and the mysterious Uncle Lan. Jibai nodded and said, yes, that Lan Feng actually knows the heaven-sundering sword technique. It is indeed surprising. What's the matter? Your Majesty, just now I heard you mention Qin Yu. Emperor Yu smiled and said, nothing. It's just that Yu Qingzi sent a message, saying that the golden immortal Yu Dian, that I valued was killed. And the person who killed him was actually Qin Yu's senior. Qin Yu? Jibai was slightly surprised. According to the message that Huayan sent, this Qin Yu has also reached the Deshang stage. It is possible that he has ascended. However, the immortal devil and demon realm is very big. If there are not 10,000 people with the name Qin Yu, there are at least 8,000. This Qin Yu is not necessarily the Qin Yu of the mortal realm. I understand this point. Emperor Yu nodded and said, it's just that the Qin Yu mentioned by Yu Qingzi, his senior is also very powerful, at least at the immortal emperor level. Although there are many Qin Yu, to have such a powerful senior, I'm afraid there are not many Qin Yu. Jibai nodded in agreement. Emperor Yu faintly smiled. No matter what, we still need to investigate. If it is really the Qin Yu of the mortal realm, then the following days will not be too boring. Not too boring? Of course, the painting of the bewitching god, the atlas of 10,000 beasts and other divine tools of immortal Emperor Yang are enough to make the immortal, devil and demon realm turbulent again. This Qin Yu, that Qin Yu, are they the same person? Emperor Yu's face was full of smiles, but his eyes were looking towards the south, as if he could see through the endless space and see Qin Yu of the indigo base star field. Chapter 331. Silver Stream Galaxy Red Leaf Planet, Jade Sword Sect. In the room, there was only Immortal Lord Qianqi and Yu Qingzi. At this moment, Yu Qingzi had just returned from the secret transmission array. Brother Qianqi, I presume Emperor Yu has already sent you a message. Yu Qingzi smiled as he walked towards Immortal Lord Qianqi. Immortal Lord Qianqi put away the transmission spiritual pearl in his hand and nodded. Emperor Yu has already sent me a message? Yu Qingzi inquired. Isn't His Majesty Emperor Yu's order a bit confusing? You also received the order? Immortal Lord Qianqi was surprised. Only after Yu Qingzi nodded did Immortal Lord Qianqi sigh. I originally thought His Majesty would order us to kill the enemy to avenge Yu Dian's death. Who would have thought that His Majesty did not care about Yu Dian's death at all? Instead, he ordered us to capture Qin Yu's people, or use the soul-searching technique on them. Emperor Yu had already given them the order. 1. Capture Qin Yu's people. Even if you cannot capture them alive, you must kill them, and use the soul-searching technique on them. 2. If you kill Qin Yu's elders, it would be best to bring back their belongings. Yu Qingzi looked at Immortal Lord Qianqi and asked, Brother Qianqi, why do you think Emperor Yu gave this order? Emperor Yu's order is obviously to find out more about Qin Yu's mysterious sect. Immortal Lord Qianqi pondered. Capture them alive, or use the soul-searching technique. Both are to find out more about them. As for the last part about killing Qin Yu's martial school's elders, and bringing back their relics, I presume His Majesty Emperor Yu wants to find out which sect they are from. Brother Qianqi's words make sense. Yu Qingzi expressed his agreement. Immortal Lord Qianqi and Yu Qingzi did not know what Emperor Yu was thinking. Emperor Yu only wanted to find out if this Qin Yu and the Qin Yu of the mortal world were the same person. Yu Qingzi frowned. Looking at His Majesty Emperor Yu's order, it is obvious that His Majesty values this. No matter what, we must succeed. His Majesty has already temporarily assigned all the experts under His Majesty in Indigo Bay Star Field to you and me. It's just that I still don't have enough confidence. Yu Qingzi felt uncertain. Indigo Bay Star Field's experts under His Majesty's command will be under our command. Then this matter will not be difficult. Immortal Emperor Qianqi smiled. Indigo Bay Star Field still has many experts. Yu Qingzi immediately cupped his hands and said, I'll have to trouble Taoist brother Qianqi to take charge of the overall situation. I know myself well. That's good. Now this matter will be divided into 2 parts. First, we need to gather at least level 8 golden immortals in the Indigo Bay Star system to Red Leaf Star. Unfortunately, Emperor Yu's influence in the Indigo Bay Star system is not strong enough. There are too few immortal emperors here. Immortal Lord Qianqi sighed and continued. The first is to gather the experts, and the second is to secretly control Amber Moon in our hands. Immortal Lord Qianqi's eyes flashed coldly. Brother Qianqi, you mean? Immortal Lord Qianqi smiled. Isn't that Qin Yu a guest of the Lu clan? If we control the Lu clan, then wouldn't Qin Yu's every move be within our sights? When the time comes, we'll attack from both inside and outside, and Qin Yu's experts will have nowhere to run. A small Amber Moon star's 3 great clans. Wouldn't it be easy to control them? Immortal Lord Qianqi said indifferently. Yu Qingzi also nodded and smiled. Those small clans are most afraid of their own clan being destroyed. At this time, they still want to sit on the fence and please both sides. That's just a dream. Just threaten them. If they don't follow our orders, we'll just wipe them out. Amber Moon Star's clans, in the eyes of Emperor Yu's 36 rulers, were indeed weak. If they wanted to wipe them out, they could do so. Yu Qingzi, quickly send a message to the experts in the Indigo Bay Star system, and have them quickly come to Red Leaf Star. The sooner the better. Immortal Lord Qianqi said. Yu Qingzi stood up and said, Don't worry, I'll send the order now. In the entire Indigo Bay Star system, only the Silver Stream Star system was completely under Emperor Yu's control. The other systems were controlled by other powers. However, Emperor Yu still arranged for many experts to be stationed in these systems. But with Yu Qingzi's order, all the experts who had reached level 8 Golden Immortal as long as they weren't in closed-door cultivation, rushed to Red Leaf Star System. The experts of the Jade Sword School were also constantly gathering in Red Leaf Star. Experts were constantly gathering in Red Leaf Star. Just the Jade Sword School alone had 16 level 9 golden immortals, and close to 50 level 8 golden immortals. And this was just the Jade Sword School. There were other schools in the Silver Stream Star System, and although they weren't as strong as the Jade Sword School, they were still quite strong. In the Silver Stream Star System, including the Jade Sword School, there were more than 40 level 9 golden immortals, and more than 100 level 8 golden immortals. As for the experts from the other systems, there was 1 level 1 mystic immortal, 30 level 9 golden immortals, and more than 100 level 8 golden immortals. In a short 10 days, Red Leaf Star had gathered a terrifying power, and this power was the majority of Emperor Yu's experts in the Indigo Bay Star System. Immortal Lord Qianqi's base wasn't actually in the Indigo Bay Star System, but this time he was looking for Yu Qingzi to refine pills, so he got involved in this matter. Of course, the presence of Immortal Lord Qianqi made this group of experts even more confident. The level 1 mystic immortal from the other systems was called Xiahua. Although Xiahua was a level 1 mystic immortal, he wasn't part of the 36 rulers. In order to enter the 36 rulers, strength was important, and so was influence. For example, Yu Qingzi's strength wasn't bad, and with the support of the Jade Sword School, he was able to become one of the 36 rulers. He left some people behind to take care of the base. Immortal Lord Qianqi, Immortal Lord Yu Qingzi, and Immortal Lord Xiahua, 3 mystic immortals, led 70 level 9 golden immortals, and 200 level 8 golden immortals. Such a mighty force was ready to set off for Amber Moon. Of course, before they set off, the 3 great clans of Amber Moon had to have complete control. Qin Yu, who was still on Amber Moon, was completely oblivious to the fact that so many experts had gathered on Red Leaf Planet. After all, the Lu family that was under Qin Yu's command was only a small family on a single planet. They did not have the ability to gather information on the gathering of experts on Red Leaf Planet. In the White Garden, Qin Yu sat at a stone table quietly drinking wine. Kong Lan, Tu Gang, and Tan Meng also sat around the table. Kong Lan, Qin Yu suddenly called out, "What matter does Master have?" Kong Lan immediately looked at Qin Yu, waiting for Qin Yu's orders. Qin Yu said indifferently, "I'm worried about something. If it wasn't for this, I would have left Amber Moon long ago." "Master is worried about young Master Han Shu?" Kong Lan guessed. Qin Yu nodded and sighed. "After all, this is my disciple. I can't just leave him alone. It's just that the journey to the demon realm is filled with unknown dangers. With Han Shu's current strength, it's very dangerous for him to come with me." "Then let's stay on Amber Moon," Tu Gang suddenly said from the side. Qin Yu shook his head. It was indeed easy for him to leave Han Shu here. However, he was still a master. How long would it take to travel to the demon realm? Even Qin Yu himself wasn't sure. Going to the demon realm and reuniting with his brothers, it was normal for it to take thousands of years. But as a master, how could he just leave his disciple here for thousands of years? "Why don't we let young Master Han Shu stay in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion?" Tan Meng suggested. Qin Yu shook his head and smiled. "No, there's no one in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion. How old is Han Shu now? If we let him stay in the Qingyu Immortal Mansion without anyone by his side, he won't be able to take it. This wouldn't work, that wouldn't work." Qin Yu really did have a headache. In fact, Qin Yu cared too much. When a cultivator took in a disciple, who would take care of them all the time? As the saying goes, the master leads the way, but the cultivation is up to the individual. Casually give a cultivation method to the disciple, and then practice on their own. If the disciple didn't understand, they could just ask through the communication spirit bead. Why should they always see each other? If there's really no other way, then I can only learn from other cultivators. Qin Yu made up his mind. After all, what he wanted to do most now was to rush to the distant demon realm. Just as Qin Yu was thinking about this, Lu Han Shu ran in, his face full of excitement. Master. Lu Honshu came to Qin Yu's side, excitement written all over his face. Honshu, what are you so happy about? Qin Yu smiled. Lu Honshu bit his lip, then gathered his courage and said, Disciple has fallen in love with a girl. Oh. Qin Yu answered first. Suddenly, Qin Yu paused, his eyes widening as he looked at Honshu. What did you say? You've fallen in love with a girl? Yes. Honshu nodded, his face full of excitement. I just met her 2 days ago. She's a very nice person. She and I get along very well. But she's not from Amber Moon. Honshu said helplessly. Tell me, how does that girl treat you? Qin Yu was interested. Lu Honshu was a little embarrassed. I feel that the girl seems to be interested in me. Shameless. Dan Ming laughed from the side. Tu Gang and Kong Lan couldn't help but smile. Seeing the smiles on everyone's faces, Honshu couldn't help but feel embarrassed. But after a while he raised his head and said, Like is like, and I really feel that she is interested in me. Master, I want to pursue her. I want to become Dao companions with her. Lu Honshu suddenly looked at Qin Yu and said firmly. Qin Yu sighed in his heart. This disciple of his was much braver than himself. At first he had feelings for Li Er, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. Although with the passage of time, both of them could feel each other's feelings. But compared to his own disciple, in terms of feelings he still couldn't compare. Honshu, I support you. If you like her, then pursue her. Qin Yu said with a smile. Lu Honshu said helplessly. But that girl is already a second-level immortal. And I'm only at the middle Kongming stage. The gap in strength is not small. Also, her family background seems to be quite big. The gap between a second-level immortal and a middle Kongming stage is not that big. As long as you work hard, you can definitely catch up. As for family background, if you like her, then pursue her. Don't worry about her family background. Qin Yu's voice had a hint of anger. Family background? Li Er's family background was not small. Just look at Li Er, and that Zhou Xian's ability to cut through space. It was obvious that Li Er's clan was extraordinary. Master will support you from behind. Qin Yu said encouragingly. But Qin Yu sighed in his heart. I support Honshu, but who can support me? Although Uncle Lan supported him. But Uncle Lan's influence was only enough to prevent Li Er from marrying someone else. It wasn't enough to allow him to be with Li Er. Everything depended on himself. Thank you, Master. Lu Honshu was overjoyed. At the same time, he handed a jade slip to Qin Yu. Master, this is the girl's image. You'll understand once you see it. Oh. Qin Yu took the jade slip and scanned it with his immortal sense. He couldn't help but be slightly surprised. The girl his disciple liked was actually the girl in green he met at the floating maple tea house. Qin Yu still remembered that 10 years ago, when he went to kill the Yin clan's people, he met that girl in green. At that time, she was only a first-level immortal. In just 10 years, she had already reached the second-level immortal realm. It seems that the girl my disciple likes is from an extraordinary family. It seems that the girl in green's mate is a 7th-level immortal. Qin Yu didn't care much about it. With the 9 refinements of 3 souls, Qin Yu's soul cultivation speed would surpass the imagination of any cultivator. When he opens the 3rd layer of the Atlas of 10,000 Beasts, at that time, Qin Yu would be able to become a warlord of the immortal, devil and demon realm. Now, Qin Yu had just opened the 2nd layer of the Atlas, and could be considered a tyrant. He couldn't fight against the big powers, and the small powers couldn't afford to provoke him. Times these days, Lu Honshu often accompanied the girl in green to stroll around Lufeng City. Qin Yu could see from his disciple's silly smile that he had fallen in love with the girl. White Garden. Qin Yu closed his eyes and leaned against the pavilion's railing. Occasionally, he would take a sip of wine from the pot. After a while, Ming Han came to the pavilion and saw Qin Yu with his eyes closed. He didn't disturb him. Mr. Lu, what brings you here? Qin Yu suddenly opened his eyes and looked at Ming Han. Ming Han smiled and said, Mr. Qin, tomorrow is the day of the competition for the control of the planet's transmission array. The location is on the huge plain next to the planet's transmission array. I hope Mr. Qin can come and take a look when you have the time. He handed over an invitation card. Qin Yu reached out and took it. I will go and take a look when I have the time. After saying that, Qin Yu closed his eyes again. Then I won't disturb Mr. Qin any longer. Goodbye. Ming Han smiled. Qin Yu didn't say anything. He continued to close his eyes and enjoy the feeling of the breeze caressing his face. Qin Yu enjoyed this feeling very much. It was as comfortable as when Li Er caressed his face. Chapter 332. Li Er, I will find you soon. Qin Yu murmured in his heart. Closing his eyes, his mind was filled with scenes of him and Li Er together. In particular, when Li Er had shattered space and left, her gaze had been filled with endless attachment and reluctance to part with him. What is the furthest distance in the world? Qin Yu suddenly opened his eyes. He still remembered hearing such a question in the Qianlong continent. He remembered the answer was the furthest distance in the world is when I am in front of you, but you don't know that I love you. But Qin Yu suddenly had another answer in his heart. The furthest distance in the world should be when two people love each other, but can't be together. Qin Yu's heart twitched. When he was in the mortal world, Qin Yu had brothers and relatives by his side. Qin Yu didn't feel so lonely and uncomfortable. But now in the vast immortal devil and demon world he was alone. Qin Yu couldn't help but think of Li Er. Huff! Qin Yu suddenly stood up, shook his head, and chopped the air with his palm. The water in the pond beside the pavilion was splashed by the powerful palm. The breeze blew the water on his face, waking him up a lot. Cultivate, cultivate, I can't be idle. Qin Yu said to himself. Only by not being idle and constantly cultivating bitterly, or fighting with others in a battle of wits and courage, would he be able to find Li Er, whom he didn't miss, and not be tormented by longing in his heart. I can't wait. I'll stay for 2 more days. After watching the competition with Hanshu, I'll leave immediately. Qin Yu clenched his teeth. The next day, on the plains beside the Maple Moon's teleportation array, a large number of experts from the 3 great families of Maple Moon had gathered. The battle for the control of the teleportation array could be considered the biggest event in Maple Moon. Yin family, Lu family, Wang family. The 3 families must fight each other. Yin family against Lu family against Wang family against Yin family. A total of 3 matches, to see which family will win the most. The rule of each match is 2 out of 3 wins. Lu clan will win. Lu clan will win. The disciples of the Lu family roared loudly, their voices shaking the sky and the earth. The disciples of the Yin and Wang families were also roaring madly. It was as if the 3 families wanted to suppress each other in terms of aura. Yin Shua, why are you staring at me? Ming Han asked with a surprised expression. Sitting in the opposite camp, Yin Shua sneered. Lu Ming Han, let's see how long you can be proud of yourself. My brother's death. My Yin family will not let this matter rest. The Jade Sword School will not let this matter rest. Ming Han responded to the threat with an indifferent smile. In the Lu clan's camp, Qin Yu sat on a chair, while Han Shu sat beside Qin Yu. Master, which clan do you think will win this time? How confident is our Lu family? Lu Han Shu asked. After all, this kind of competition was a best of 3 competition. It wasn't just about who was the strongest. The Yin family's 2 strongest experts are dead. It would be strange if they won this time. Qin Yu smiled. As long as Ming Han is not a fool, he will be able to take control. Qin Yu scanned with his immortal sense, and knew the strength of each side. With Yen Gao's death, the number 1 expert of the 3 great clans of Maple Moon would be Ming Han. Ming Han would win every battle, and the Lu clan had many level 9 immortals. Even the second elder was close to breaking through to the golden immortal stage. In Qin Yu's opinion, the competition was meaningless. A competition was a competition. It was not a battle of life and death. Although both sides used their own moves, the most they could do was to defeat each other. They did not use any killing moves. This kind of competition was very beautiful. One battle could last for hundreds of rounds. The moves were also very beautiful. In the end, the one who injured the other would be considered the winner. The situation was just as Qin Yu had predicted. Lu family versus Wang family, 2 o'clock victory. The third match was not fought. Wang family versus Yin family 1-2 defeat. Wang family lost in such a situation. It was really shameful. Lu family versus Yin family, 2 o'clock victory. The result was no doubt, the Lu family won. Qing Yu's ears were roaring with joy. The Lu family's disciples were all very excited. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, this was the second time they had gained control. Master, the technique used by the Grand Elder to defeat the Yin family's leader was really wonderful. It was very powerful. Han Shu was still immersed in the excitement of the battle. Powerful? Qing Yu smiled indifferently. I would be able to kill him with a simple sword strike. Why should I waste so much energy? Qing Yu had his own comprehension of fighting. Han Shu, I will be leaving tomorrow. Qing Yu suddenly said. A what? Master, what did you say? Han Shu was shocked and stared at Qing Yu. Qing Yu smiled. I stayed in Maple Moon to prepare for my journey to the demon realm. Now I can't waste any more time. I have decided to leave tomorrow. Then this disciple will also go with Master. Han Shu gritted his teeth and said. Han Shu's heart was very reluctant to part with the girl in green. But he also didn't want to leave his master. You are willing to part with the girl you like? Said Qing Yu with a smile. Soon after, he continued. Han Shu, the journey to the demon realm this time. Not only will it be a long journey, there might also be many dangers along the way. It's not safe for you to follow beside me. Furthermore, there's no need for you to always follow me on the path of cultivation. In the future, if you encounter any difficulties, you can directly send me a message through the transmission spiritual pearl. Han Shu was silent for a long time, but he still nodded. Disciple obeys. Qing Yu nodded. I also don't want to say goodbye to Ming Han. Tonight, help me say goodbye. At the same time, Qing Yu takes out a spatial ring. I don't know when I'll be able to return after leaving this time. You should bind this spatial ring with your blood as soon as possible. There are also some immortal weapons, an elemental holy rock, that I left behind inside. An immortal tool-level space ring. Han Shu knew how precious it was. Yes, Master. Although there were many things he wanted to say, he didn't. Times night. Great Elder Han Shu requests an audience. Outside the hall, Han Shu's voice sounded. Oh, it's Han Shu. Come in. Ming Han's voice came from the direction of the hall. Han Shu immediately stepped into the hall. At the same time, Han Shu also entered the hall from the back room. Ming Han sat down and smiled. Han Shu, have a seat. What brings you here so late at night? After Han Shu sat down, he smiled wryly. My honored teacher said that he will be leaving Amber Moon for the demon realm tomorrow. He sent me here to inform the Great Elder that he will be leaving tomorrow. Ming Han's body trembled and his face paled. Creak. Ming Han waved his hand and closed the door. Ming Han eagerly asked. Han Shu, you said that your master Qing Yu will leave for the demon realm tomorrow. Are you sure? Han Shu was startled. What is it, Great Elder? Didn't Master ask for a map to the demon realm when he came here? It's already rare for him to stay here for so many years. Are you going to let a master like Master stay in a small place like Amber Moon forever? Han Shu spoke up for Qing Yu. Ming Han also felt that he was too nervous. He chuckled and said, It's nothing. It's just that Mr. Qing Yu said he would leave. It really caught me off guard. Han Shu, can I ask you for a favor? Great Elder, if there's anything, just say it. Han Shu hurriedly said. Han Shu was a little flustered that the Great Elder would ask him for a favor. Ming Han smiled. Your master, Mr. Qing Yu, has shown great kindness to our Lu clan. If we were to let Mr. Qing Yu leave just like that, it would make our Lu clan seem unreasonable. The way I see it, you should go and tell your master to let him stay for a couple more days. I, on the other hand, am preparing a farewell banquet to send Mr. Qing Yu off. Han Shu, what do you think? This, Han Shu hesitated. Isn't it just a farewell banquet? Mr. Qing Yu has stayed in Amber Moon for so many years. A day or two more shouldn't be a big deal. Ming Han hurriedly said with a smile. Han Shu shook his head helplessly. Great Elder, it's not that I don't want to. It's just that Master said he will leave tomorrow morning. I know my master's character. Once he has decided on something, it's very difficult to change his mind. Ming Han frowned. Ming Han, why bother? Suddenly, a cold voice sounded. A middle-aged man walked out from the back room. Great Elder. Ming Han immediately bowed. Han Shu saw this scene and was puzzled. Great Elder? The Great Elder of the Lu family addressed this middle-aged man as Great Elder. Who was this mysterious person that suddenly appeared? The middle-aged man snorted. Why are you so long-winded? If this matter is not handled properly, your Lu family will be annihilated. Annihilate the Lu family? Han Shu was shocked. He immediately transmitted his voice to Ming Han. Great Elder, who is this person? Why does he want to annihilate the Lu family? Han Shu was afraid that the middle-aged man would be suspicious. Ming Han looked at Han Shu and said helplessly, Han Shu, I beg you. Please allow your master to stay in Amber Moon for one more day. Otherwise, my Lu family will be finished. What's going on? What's going on? Han Shu saw this scene, and his heart surged with an answer he didn't want to believe. His family was cooperating with another power to do something unfavorable to his master. Han Shu could easily guess the answer, but he didn't want to believe it. You are Qin Yu's disciple? The middle-aged man looked coldly at Han Shu. Listen carefully. I will give you two options. One is to listen to Ming Han and persuade Qin Yu to stay for one more day. The other path was to rebel against me. But I can tell you, I am Wu Bo, a level 8 golden immortal. Your every move is under my watch. Don't even think about using your spiritual sense to send a message. I've already set up a restriction around the hall when I came in. Don't even think about using a messaging spiritual pearl, because you'll be killed by me the moment you take it. Wu Bo looked coldly at Han Shu. One was a level 8 golden immortal, the other was a mid-Kongming stage cultivator. The difference was like heaven and earth. Your people want to kill my master? Han Shu glared at the level 8 golden immortal in front of him. Yes, you'd better cooperate. I think you already know the gist of the matter. Wu Bo smiled faintly. What a coincidence. If you hadn't come to report tonight, that Qin Yu might have escaped. Han Shu's heart was burning with anger. Seal me? I know. You are worried that if I die, my soul jade slip will shatter. My master will know something happened to me and see through your plan, right? Han Shu smiled and licked his lips. Deep in his eyes, there was a faint trace of red. Smart. Wu Bo smiled faintly. He pointed a finger and a surge of immortal elemental energy shot into Han Shu's body, sealing his yuanying. Han Shu couldn't self-destruct, even if he wanted to. So now, I won't let you die. This way, Qin Yu won't know. Wu Bo continued. Boy, you better be sensible. Otherwise, if things go wrong, all of your family's tens of thousands of disciples will die. Han Shu, for the family you must agree. Ming Han said. For the family. Lu Han Shu laughed heartily. Lu Ming Han. You want me to sacrifice my revered teacher for the sake of my family? Lu Han Shu directly addressed Ming Han by his full name. Ming Han was startled. The level 8 golden immortal, Wu Bo, looked on coldly. Han Shu seemed to have gone mad. Family, you tell me. What has the family given me since I was a child? Not a single piece of low-grade elemental spirit stone. Endless mockery, humiliation and ridicule. Since I was a child, I was the object of humiliation. I couldn't walk in the center of the room. I couldn't even look at people directly. Anyone could order me around. Han Shu's voice was bleak, and his eyes were red. You tell me about the family? Do I have a family? What the Lu family gave me was humiliation, humiliation. I was worse than an orphan. I thought my life was over. I almost killed myself at the lake where my mother died. But then my master appeared. He was sincere to me. He transformed my meridians. He didn't look down on me. For me, he stayed in a small place like Amber Moon for 10 years. I was reborn. In these 10 years, no one dared to look down on me. No one dared to disrespect me. Even you, the Great Elder, have to call me Han Shu. Han Shu pointed angrily at Ming Han. His whole face was red. At this moment, even Wu Bo could see that something was wrong. Walking with a straight back, living a carefree life. This has been my dream since I was a child. My master made my dream come true. These 10 years, I have been very happy. Han Shu's face was so red it was about to drip water. In this life, I don't ask for anything else. I just want to be able to walk with a straight back. This is my only request. My master made me happy for 10 years. I am satisfied. If there is any regret, it would be her. Han Shu's voice was low and deep. Suddenly, Han Shu looked up at Wu Bo. Are you surprised? Why is my face so red? Let me tell you. This is a poison that only exists in Amber Moon. Unfortunately, you immortals don't understand this poison, but I do. Wu Bo was shocked. He quickly poured his immortal elemental energy into Han Shu's body to stop the poison. But he didn't understand the nature of this poison. It was a poison for ordinary cultivators. After ingesting it, the blood vessels in the brain would burst, and blood would flow out of the 7 orifices. Although Han Shu had yuanying, it was sealed. Once the poison took effect, the blood vessels in his brain would burst, and his soul would not be able to fuse with the yuanying. Naturally, it would dissipate. Wu Bo's only solution was to remove the seal and allow Han Shu's soul to fuse with the yuanying. Unfortunately, Wu Bo didn't dare to remove the seal. If he did, Han Shu would immediately send a message to Qingyu, or self-destruct. Therefore, no matter what, Han Shu must die. Master, these 10 years of self-respect are more satisfying than 100 or 1,000 years of mediocre people. I'm already satisfied that my death was able to let you know the danger you're in. Lu Han Shu's face held a trace of a smile, but the corners of his mouth and nostrils were bleeding profusely. His eyes were bloodshot. In this lifetime, the only regret I have is her. Han Shu's eyes were filled with longing. Love had just begun, but it was already over. Boom! Blood flowed out of the 7 orifices, and Han Shu slowly fell down. At the same time, in Qin Yu's blazing profound ring, Han Shu's soul jade slip also shattered. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.